Don't flash the camera, Julio.
We're live. Hello, and thank you all for tuning in to the Real Short Box Live. My name is not Mr. T, although you might get confused. My name is Donald, and next to me is...
For some reason, I'm here, Dr. Kevin.
Yeah, so Donald and Kevin are in one cube here. Right next to me, we have the ever-present, all-knowing, I guess, Julio Galvez from We Can Be Heroes Comics. Thanks for joining us, Julio.
Oh, anytime.
Catty-cornered, and right below Julio is Darren, of course, and right below me is another very special guest, one professional wrestler, Alan McGath, a.k.a. Flea. Thank you for joining, Alan.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. Happy to stay up late with you guys tonight.
Always
for me.
Always appreciate having people on, so thank you so much for staying up late and being a part of this. It's a pleasure, so thank you.
My pleasure.
So we are going to get started here. I'm going to do a little bit of stuff in the back. Darren, I'm going to let you take it from here while I do some background stuff, and then we'll get started with the actual podcast itself.
All right. Well, thank you so much to everyone who's on tonight, especially our special guest here, Alan. So, Alan, right out of the gate, I've sent you over a list of all of our heels for this evening's tournament.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, is there one heel on that list that we did not include that you would have preferred to have seen?
I went through it quickly. There have been so many great heels throughout the history of wrestling. A lot of guys from, earlier days may have missed the list just because of how far we've come since then. A guy like Adrian Adonis or somebody like that, So, I mean, it's really tough. It's tough to come up with a comprehensive list. So many wrestlers, so many years, so many different promotions. But, I think from what I saw, you guys covered a lot of good ground. So.
So Julio, from our list, is there a heel on here maybe we didn't include you would have preferred maybe to have seen?
No, I think you guys got it. I mean, I don't remember the whole entire list because I have a shitty memory from my battle street fighting days. Not a professional. But did Chris Jericho make this list as a heel?
No, he made it as a face last week.
Oh, okay.
That's another thing that's tough. When you got so many guys that go from face to heel, mm-hmm. Some of these guys were great faces and also great heels.
Like Paul White, the Giant. He was a good face and a good heel.
Yeah. Jericho was another one he mentioned. The Undertaker was a great heel when he was a heel. So I mean, it's even Hogan was a heel at one point. So
yeah,
Hollywood Hogan for sure.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm out. By the way, we're up online. I'm just sharing it with everybody right now.
Thank you.
And I was just going to say, I'm not going to be as coy about it as you guys, as being one of the people that helped generate the list. I like our list. There were two names on there I would have preferred to have put on. One is more for, hardcore fans. One is more, legendary. For the hardcore fans, Muhammad Hassan was an outstanding villain. What's interesting to him about me is he's serious to a point that you really he goes a little far with it, and the only thing that really evens it out is Davari, who is his sidekick, who's just always speaking in Farsi, yelling in Farsi, and no one knows what he's saying, but it never stops him from going. I think that's a great one. And one of my personal favorites villains, of course, would be the King of Hearts, Owen Hart.
Yeah.
Hart was definitely one of the most irritating people, which makes for a great wrestling heel, I will have you know. Everything from his just kind of snotty looking kind of face and just whining about everything. He's just really my kind of heel. Kevin, is there a heel on this list that you would have preferred to have seen?
Well, it's two people. One, when you mentioned Hassan, you remember back 30 years ago when we were kids during the Gulf War, when Sergeant Slaughter was a bad guy and you had Colonel Staffa, and I always laughed because you had General Adnan, whatever his name was, and he always spoke. And I didn't know what he was saying. It was like Sergeant Slaughter, you know. I'd just be cracking up like, what did that man just say? And then you had the Iron Sheik, you know, as the third person part of that group, and that was during the Gulf War. Slaughter would wave the Iraqi flag and get people pissed off. That was great. That was great heel work.
I believe they actually had to move WrestleMania to a smaller arena because of the heat that Slaughter generated. What is going on?
Hey.
And also, we also can't forget the bad guy, Razor Ramon.
Oh, I love Razor Ramon.
This is my little one.
He's like,
hi, little one.
There we go.
This is Wyatt.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, Wyatt.
He totally loves to act like he's not interested in nothing, like he is doing right now.
Yeah.
He gets that from his mom.
So, Alan, while we have you here, I'd like to take this opportunity for our audience to really maybe get to know what it's like to be in wrestling. So, we had talked beforehand, and we know each other for the past. So, you've wrestled in arenas that have held up to close to 1,000 people before. Now, what kind of a main event wrestler do you need to bring on the card to sell out arenas like that, or did you have someone that night that was definitely a big name?
It's all relative. I mean, we've had big names. I've been on the card with I've been on shows. I've seen that, like, guys like the Honky Tonk Man. I've seen guys like Marty Jannetty. I've been on shows with guys. We had Doink a couple times.
Doink. Fucking Doink.
Yeah. Not Matt Bourne Doink, but I mean, the name still sells.
Right.
And a lot of the super indie guys, guys who are, famous now, weren't so famous back then, but it's the names help, but it's all about, it definitely helps to have a name, but I think more or less, proper promotion of the show, utilizing all of your media outlets that you can. I've always been a big believer in, really promoting your show, building the hype. And I think that goes, because a lot of times you have these cards and people come to these shows without even knowing who most of the guys are. I went to a show at Packard Music Hall when I was a kid, and the big name on the show was Viscera, which used to be King Mabel.
Right.
And that was cool and everything, you know what I mean? But, I mean, for me, that wasn't the sell. I wanted to go see a wrestling show, so, but, I mean, you have your more casual fans that want to see the name, so it helps to bring those guys in.
Another question I have from you now.
Real quick, I don't mean to interrupt, but before we get moving in a little bit more, it's very important. My mother's here, everybody. So everybody say hi to my mom.
Hi, Mama McKinney.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad, if you're there. I don't know if Dad's there, too, but just in case. Hi, Dad. Enrique joined us. He said, hey, guys. So thank you, Enrique. And Anthony also joined us. Thank you, Anthony, for popping in. There's a few other people that are here. They're just being a little quiet. So if you feel like saying hello in the chat, please feel free to do so. If not, no worries. We're going to get started on the voting rounds and stuff very shortly. But until then, we're going to be doing like some questions for Alan, a.k.a. Flea, professional wrestler Flea, and we're going to be asking him some things. I know some people are popping in and going, what's going on? That's what's going on right now. Yes, my dad is here, actually. He just said he is. So, hello, Dad. Thank you for joining. And thank you, everybody, for being a part of the Real Short Box. We appreciate it. Go ahead. I'm so sorry to interrupt. Back to you guys.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a question here, Alan, and this is a question I asked to our guest, the Bouncer, last week, to clarify for our audience. Is wrestling fake?
Oh, that's a bad word.
Yeah.
I mean, you could call it whatever you want. I mean, you know, there's nothing fake about the injuries, and you know, there's a lot of misconceptions about what wrestling is. Many of which I had when I started training, and found out the hard way. The rings are hard; they hurt. It's a full contact sport, 100%. You know, the idea is to not totally avoid pain. It's to avoid serious injury. That's what we work together to do. The outcomes are predetermined, but you have to keep yourself in shape or you're going to get hurt. I mean, the bumps and bruises are real. And when you do this, you know, several times a week, and you're cramped in cars and you're late nights and eating a crappy diet, and you still have to find time to keep your body, you know, a lot of the times you're exercising and working out just to rehab injuries that you've sustained. You know, I remember coming home from a show and getting out of bed and falling down in the morning because my knees gave out on me because I had hurt myself the night before. And I had a show that night, so I taped up my knee enough to where I could stand on my feet, and off I went. So we don't have an off season. We don't have an injured list. So, I mean, fake is a relative term. I mean, none of us think it's fake.
Let me ask you something real quick, Alan. Is there like a rotating roster? So, for example, if you say you're injured and they go, okay, well then you don't have to wrestle tonight, but you're going to go at the back of the list then when we call people, and you know, just so you know, so you better make yourself better and be available for this. Is there something like that kind of happens every once in a while, or?
You know, I can't speak for anybody else. I haven't experienced anything like that. I mean, if you're hurt, you're hurt. You know, just like anything else. You know, the thing is for some of us, you know, and not my case anymore, but for some people, you know, wrestling represents the amount of money that they need to feed themselves, or the money they need to make ends meet. For some of us, I mean, when I first started, I didn't have a quote unquote real job that paid the bills so easily. So I had to come up, you know, I wrestled a lot to try to get it, whatever I could get. Even if that meant just getting food for that night. So, you know, sometimes you don't really have a choice. You just have to push through it. And you know, if you're hurt, you're hurt. And, you know, every promoter's different. You know, luckily for me, I've worked with good guys. But it's just, you know, you're an independent contractor. So, you know.
And just one final question, and I feel like we're getting close to our competition here, but one more question for you. So I know you've had a bruised knee in the past, and I was just wondering, do you still have a certain knee brace you got from the wrestler Chaz Carmichael?
I do. You'll see me wearing it in a picture. The knee injury that I referenced, that's one of the things that kept me going when I needed to. I have it somewhere, yeah. So if you ever need it back, hopefully you don't.
I want it autographed.
I can do that.
All right.
Might not be worth much, but
I have one question before we get started. How did you get the name Flea, or come up with the name Flea?
You know, I had wrestled with different names and different gimmicks and different ideas, and nothing seemed to stick. I had this idea that I wanted to do this rock star type character, and I was trying to come up with a name, and I had remembered somebody referring to me as a flea, or as Flea, because at the time I was very small. So I'm going to crush you like a flea stuck out to me, so I just changed my name to Flea.
I have a photo of you from when you were, looks like when you were a little younger.
Yeah.
You're standing over a guy with like 3 other people. There's 2 guys flat on their, one on his back and one on his stomach, and you're just pointing at them. It looks like you're mocking them almost. What's exactly going on there?
That was one of my heel turns.
Okay.
Double cross. That was the gentleman on the ground might look familiar to you.
Hold on, let me. Wait a second.
Yeah. I see. Wow. So you guys are acquaintances, huh? You know each other
for quite some time, yeah.
Is that the? Oh, we can't say his name. I don't want to.
I don't know what the rules are here. I don't want to get booted off the air.
It's just we have a sensitive member of the panel.
Okay.
So anyway, okay, yeah, wow. So you were able to find someone who may or may not have been on this show last week, and you hit him, you beat him down.
It was tough night for him that night.
Good.
Very cool.
Are we set to get this started, Don, or should we wait for a few more?
Yeah, well, I think we can get started here relatively shortly. There's just one more picture here I'm gonna post for now, really quickly.
Okay.
It's a guy in all red, kind of red trunks, and it looks like he's trying to maybe kick you. I don't know. A mid kick.
Actually, I think I just punched him.
Oh. Okay.
Hand.
That's a good shot.
That's Max Alexander is his name.
Okay. Nice. Okay, yeah, I think we had to get started on the voting. All right. How this is going to work is usually what we do is we'll post the two pictures of the two wrestlers that will be fighting each other, and then the audience will vote. If the vote ties, it'll go to the council, which is us. And since there's actually 5 of us tonight,
You could break a tie.
we could actually legitimately break a tie. So that'll be a first for us. But if it does come to the council, if it does not, then whoever wins, and then we move on to the next round. So let's go ahead and get started. Darren, you want to pull up?
Yeah, I'm actually going to pull you up first. Donald, you're going to be up on this one first.
Okay.
We're going to start out with 2 great villains from the 1980s, well into the 90s actually as well. 2 absolute legends. But we, of course, are talking about the 2 most manipulative villains of their time, Jake the Snake Roberts and the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase.
Okay. He's pulling. It's a GIF, and he's saying, "I'm rich and you're not."
Perfect thing to say for the great.
Everybody has a price.
Everybody does.
One of the best theme songs for a wrestler ever.
Yeah.
I love that theme song.
Yeah.
And
He was great.
let's see, Jake the Snake. There we go. Perfect. And let's see what we got here. Give me 1 second.
Two great songs. Yes! Yes! Here we go. Yeah!
He's gonna say it.
It's got a price. Everyone's gonna pay. $1 Million Man always gets his way.
All right. Kevin's way excited about this one.
Yes.
Of course, Virgil in the back.
One of my favorite heels of all time, like my top 2. You can't go wrong with Ted DiBiase.
Nope.
That beautiful $1 Million belt. Lord have mercy. Look at that.
Hello, Andrew, Bonnie, and Frank. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Right now, this is our first match, guys, so you just popped in at the right time. We are talking Jake the Snake Roberts versus the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Both of them have things with them that they would use in order to take advantage of the situation. With Jake, it was his snake. With Ted DiBiase, it was his money, of course. Jake the Snake Roberts and Ted DiBiase, I think, are both brilliant pageantry wrestlers. And what I mean by that is they know the theatrical side of wrestling. They know how to appeal to the audience. They know how to discuss the audience. They know how to play the audience extremely well. These 2 guys were amazing at it. Jake the Snake with his python, when he would bring that out, was it python or boa constrictor? It was a python, right?
Yeah, we would use a python at one point.
So basically, after he would win a match, he would then take his bag out from underneath the ring, get back in the ring then, open the bag, and just empty the snake onto the person.
Now, yes. Remember when he got real dark, he used like a cobra against Macho Man Randy Savage. I remember they blanked it out, and like you saw the thing, they blanked it out on TV. You know, you see Macho Man in pain. I thought it was real. I thought, oh my God.
It was real. That was real.
Yeah,
I mean, it was real, but you know what I'm saying? I thought Macho Man was going to die. But I found later on they took the poison out or defanged the thing, whatever they did. But
did you happen to see the Macho Man Dark Side? I think it was the Dark Side of the Ring episode.
No,
where they talked about that.
It was the A&E one they did last.
The A&E one, yeah. They
one.
talked about that and how Macho Man didn't trust Jake.
Hey, Ricky.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for joining.
I was actually on a show with Jake the Snake too. Actually, I forgot to mention that earlier. You were asking about names.
Really?
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
Jake the Snake was one of those guys that he would do his promo, and I was a kid watching it, and I would pay so close attention to what he was saying because it didn't really make any sense, but it was so badass that it didn't matter. I just knew that as soon as he was done, he was going to kick the crap out of somebody.
and of course, the innovator of the DDT.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which later on, everyone just started using it and it didn't have the same effect, and I thought that was disrespectful. You know, when you use that DDT comes, that's it. You're done.
It's over. It's
Yeah.
over.
And if you ever meet Jake, he's deceivingly 6 feet 6 inches tall.
Yeah, he's a tall dude.
I didn't know who abused who more. If Jake abused his snake more or if DiBiase abused Virgil more. I couldn't tell which. But I feel like they couldn't get away with that now.
Nope.
Like, that would not
that one.
Nope.
No.
not in that manner of speaking. I
Nope.
don't think
There's
that
like
was the
90% of things that happened in the 80s and 90s that could never ever happen again.
Well,
Right.
some of those characters you couldn't do from the 80s.
We have those votes coming in.
Yeah, we've got votes coming in.
Nice.
So with Ted DiBiase, he had height. He was a tall man.
Oh yeah, I met him at Comic-Con a few years ago. Yeah, he's a tall dude. He's like 6'3", 6'4".
Tall dude. He's got a presence. He's got a big barrel chest, a big body. You know, he was never like, oh my God, look how ripped he is. That wasn't his. That wasn't his thing. His thing was his physicality.
Yeah.
Just that
He was athletic.
so huge,
And he was athletic.
and he had some athletic moves and stuff. But he also looked like he was going to sing you a really cool country song afterwards.
And, actually, he would after he put you that $1 Million Dream.
Yeah, the $1 Million Dream. I remember that. Oh my God, that was great. That was great.
Well, Jake was in the shape that he was in because that's how Vince wanted him. I remember hearing a story where he got injured and came back like 6 months later, and he was in really great shape. And Vince saw him, and Jake was like, "I'm coming back." And Jake's like, and Vince is like, "Not like that. Go gain 30 pounds and come back and look gross and sweaty. That's who you are."
Wow.
Just an FYI, my oldest brother, mom, and dad are also tuned in. They don't have the options to use the chats, but they are voting.
Oh, good.
Hi, guys.
Katie will be late to the show. She's already submitted her first round votes.
All right.
One last thing, Darren. Jake the Snake Roberts was a person who helped start Stone Cold Steve Austin's rise to power when he helped the King of the Ring, when he beat him for the King of the Ring, and said the famous Austin 316 line.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so let's get started on these votes. Now, we're going to break you in right here, Alan. We're going to have you count the votes for Jake the Snake Roberts.
Okay.
And Darren, we're going to have you count the votes for the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Okay.
All right, Alan, I have 4 votes already texted to me from the Manels for Jake Roberts. Yeah, it's enough to just count in your hands, by the way.
So far, so then that gets me, I believe, 10. So you said 4, and then
yeah.
Okay.
Bonnie says Jake.
Oh, Donald will take the rest of
it.
Okay.
I'll count them out for you. You just count the amount here. Enrique says $1 Million Man. Andrew says, I love to hate the $1 Million Man, so I guess he's voting $1 Million Man. Andrew, if I'm incorrect, let me know. So that's 2 for $1 Million Man. Bonnie says Jake the Snake. Frank says Jake the Snake. Andrew says he turned off Mass Effect for this. Thank you, Andrew. We appreciate that very much.
I put my game on pause for this.
Yeah. Enrique says, I forgot to mention last week that my uncle used to do Lucha Libre. I actually saw him wrestle in L.A. when I was in high school. He was the heel. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, that's very cool.
That's really cool.
That is really cool.
What was his name? Let me know if you can remember his wrestling name. Ricky Barnett says Jake the Snake, and hello. Hello, Ricky. Thank you. My mom says Jake the Snake. My dad says Jake the Snake. Austin says Jake the Snake.
Yeah.
And Frank says the WWE had Jake versus Hulk Hogan at MSG, and the crowd was behind Jake, so Hulk called the feud off. Interesting.
Wow.
You know, Jake was always pretty cool. Like,
yes, he was.
He was always pretty cool. Even
so cool.
Even
Such
when he
a
was a
great
villain.
psychological
Yes.
Yeah.
mind.
So I assume Jake is running away with this one.
He's up to 10 votes for Jake. I don't know.
I only have
think
two
so.
for the $1 Million Man.
Yeah.
All right. You want to call
That's
this?
easy.
Calling
That's
it.
easy.
That sucks,
All right.
man. I'm actually surprised that Jake won that easily.
No,
Jake the Snake, winner of round one.
All right, Julio, you're up next. We're going to go ahead and kind of move through these as quickly as we can.
Okay.
You are going to be doing two, of course, very classic heels. One of which is going to be the Rocky Mountain Monster, the Mastodon, Big Van Vader, against
No.
the
That's actually.
eighth wonder of the world, China.
Wait.
I got the wrong people.
Yeah, actually, that's actually me, brother Darren.
Yeah, that'll be
go
Kevin.
ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kev.
So we got Van Vader in China.
I
Let me
got
just pull
homework
up.
for the wrong assignment.
And China.
Let me just pull up China. Here. Yeah, sorry, you gotta.
It's in the east.
Yeah, and I can't pull it up because I don't have the power.
Right.
Now you know how I do it. I just wing it. All right, here we go. China and Van Vader. There we go.
And did anybody ever see the video where Vader's, I believe his eye got popped?
Oh, I did see that. That was in Japan.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What
Put it back
happened?
in and continue the match.
That's how you do it.
I'm sorry, Kevin got really excited and I didn't hear what was going on. He got hit.
He took some shot to the eye and his eyeball popped out of his skull and he literally.
Oh my God!
He
was in Japan.
Put it back in and finished the match.
Wow, that's insane. All right, Kev, you're up.
Well, this is a little somber because unfortunately both these individuals are no longer with us. But when they were around, they were very entertaining. I'll start with the lovely lady, Joni Laurel, known as China, the ninth wonder of the world. You know, great WWF, WWE superstar. I remember when the first time I saw her, you know, she was hanging out with DX and Triple H. You know, great bodyguard. She would hold their belts, and then eventually she would do wrestling herself, and she was able to hold her own against the guys. So you took her seriously, you respected her. She was kind of like a Wonder Woman in the ring. You know, she was no joke. And, you know, unfortunately, she did not have, you know, the best adult life, but just her in-ring performance will always be memorable, and, you know, she deserves to be in the Hall of Fame if she's not there already.
I'm really shocked.
She is.
Oh, she is? Okay.
Based on her physicality and the shape she was in and stuff, she just went so soon. It was just really sad.
Yeah, very sad.
Well,
And
I don't want to be a dick or anything, but I really think that the way she was treated had a lot to do with her downfall.
yeah, we could do a whole episode on that, but we don't have time for that. But yes, you're absolutely right, Julio. And then, of course, another great heel of mine from when I was a kid, Big Van Vader, shortened to Vader. To me, one of the greatest big men in the history of wrestling.
When he walked out originally with that big elephant thing on his
Yeah.
body that steamed out, and that I couldn't believe it. I was like, "What is this? Oh my God!"
Him and Bam Bam Bigelow, I was a big fan of, and it turns out, doing my research, you know, even like last year when I was catching up on some wrestling during COVID, him and Bam Bam Bigelow used to be a tag team in Japan. I was like, "Oh my God, this is awesome!
Dude,
This is awesome!"
the ring stay up.
I mean, two very athletic big men.
Yeah.
Just impressive. And another one, God rest his soul, who I met Scott Bigelow. That's another story, but he's a cool guy. But Vader, the Mastodon, you know, from Colorado, his matches against Sting and WCW were legendary. They were awesome. And, you know, his Vader splash was no joke. His physicality, his intimidation, you bought into it. You knew that he was the real deal.
Vader was an excellent choice with China. I think this is a good matchup. China's got the physicality. She could take a hit. She probably could pick him up.
Oh, no, I think she can.
Yeah.
I could.
Let's also not forget Big Van Vader and his outstanding performance on Boy Meets World as Frankie Stechino's father, a.k.a. Ethan Suplee. He had about 2 or 3 episodes on there where he was quite memorable.
Wonderful. I saw him wrestle at the Legends of Wrestling the second year they did it out here in LA. And it was a big surprise that he was going to be there. And he showed up with that big old helmet of his, and he walked to the ring. And he was over 400 pounds when he showed up that night. And he was in there for, 5-6 minutes, running around and just clotheslining people, picking them up and everything. And it was incredible. It was cool because I was drunk and having a good time. But like later that night, we had a stayed. It was at the LAX hotel there, and so we stayed the night there. And in the lobby, all the wrestlers that wrestled there were drinking, and I saw Vader, and he was still breathing hard from the match that had ended like an hour before. And I was almost scary. I honestly thought he was gonna die. But then, what was it, like a year and a half later? After that, he made another run at WWE, and he looked great. Great. And it's sad to hear that he passed away.
Yeah, he passed away 3 years ago, Leon White. God rest his soul. And Louis makes an excellent point about Vader's run in New Japan and WCW was better than his run in WWF. Yeah, Vince didn't use him correctly in WWF.
Definitely. Yeah. And let's see, we got a couple more comments here popping in. Enrique says, I only remember his uncle, I think is what he said, going as Gordy Chavez. I'm sure he's gone by different names. I think he also wrestled with a mask early in his career. That's pretty cool. We've got some votes coming in, guys. It's China versus Vader. So anybody in the chat that wants to cast their vote, please feel free to do so. China versus Vader. See who will win. Let's see. Frank says China was the first woman to hold a WWE men's title when she won the Intercontinental title from Jeff Jarrett.
It's true.
Great story. Jeff Jarrett actually bribed Vince into giving him $500,000 because that was his last match in the WWF. He's like, yeah, I'll drop it for $500,000. And that's how Jarrett got rich.
And that's also how Jarrett never got another job in WWE again.
Yeah.
After it was purchased.
Had to go to Daddy for a job.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. So we've got some votes.
Jeff Jarrett could have made this list, too.
Yeah.
True. We've got some votes coming in. Julio, why don't we have you do China, and Kevin will have you do Vader, yeah?
All right, so I've got 3 for Vader and 1 for China from the Manels.
Okay. Who are you doing?
Vader.
Okay. Frank says Jake, the Snake is still working in AEW. I did not know that.
That's
true. It's true.
Huh.
Very good on it, too.
I'm very happy with his recovery. I know DDP was a big factor in that of his.
Yeah, he went through some rough times.
Oh yeah, definitely. The fact that he's still alive and certain other wrestlers,
it's a miracle.
Are not.
Yeah,
it's
a miracle.
Insane.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got another one for Vader from Enrique. Bonnie says Vader because he was on Boy Meets World. There we go.
Wow.
Frank Huff says Vader. Austin Fox says Vader. Andrew Asher says Vader. Louis says Vader. My mom says China. My dad says China. Frank, I think, is voting for China. Frank, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And Angie's voting for China. So it sounds like Vader's got a few up on China, but China's trying to come back. Mm-hmm. Where are we at?
I have 9 votes for Vader thus far.
I got 5 for China.
Okay, so China needs 4 more votes to even tie Vader.
I'm a little surprised by this one.
So people in the chats, anybody that wants to vote, cast your vote now. China versus Vader.
You can also vote, because as long as we're talking about Boys Meet World and Vader was in that, we can talk about China's other movies, her acting jobs.
Or maybe we don't have to, Julio.
Maybe that'll influence some of the people's votes.
Julio.
Okay, so take 1 away from China and give 1 to Vader.
Oh, maybe that person saw her movie.
I'm not going to lie. I did turn it on today.
I mean, I hate to admit it, but there was a friend of mine who's a collector. It wasn't any of you guys, but there was a friend of mine who's a collector that was actually at her funeral and saved me a ticket stub.
Are you kidding?
Oh.
For her funeral?
Yes.
You had to have a ticket?
What, it's like a box office or something? What's going on here?
Well, I'm sorry, what was that, Alan?
I was wondering the same thing. It's interesting that they required tickets. That they sell tickets, or
yeah, you should have seen my face when I received it.
Yeah, was it like Ticketmaster ticket?
Yeah, that's disturbing.
Yeah,
that's very disturbing.
That's kind of crazy.
Did they charge the convenience fee?
Yeah, probably.
That's how they get you.
You know what? They got you with the parking fee. Is what they got you with.
Oh yeah.
I loved her run. I loved her run with Eddie Guerrero when she was Mamacita.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. Dude, There's a guy that should still be around, Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, I miss him too.
Hey, Julio. I'm your pappy.
Yes. Oh, that was terrible. Hey, that guy just won the title.
Are we prepared to call this for Vader?
I think we are prepared to call this for Vader.
10-5, I believe. So yeah, might as well call it.
By the way, Andrew Asher says pre-sales for his funeral are on sale soon. So,
well, Brother Asher, I hope you don't plan on anything crazy, man.
Hang in there, Andrew.
Yeah, don't be doing anything stupid.
Yes, for real, man. Okay, so Alan, this is your debut. Here we go. You are going to be taking two of the most recognizable heels in the history of the WWE, and it's not even close as far as their recognition. You will be going with arguably the biggest heel of the 1980s, the peak of wrestling, the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant, against none other than the 16-time world champion, the cerebral assassin, the game, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, a.k.a. Triple H.
Once they realized they could call him Hunter or Triple H instead of Hunter Hearst Helmsley, they quickly moved to that.
Yep.
Yeah. Starting with Andre, I mean, the dude was 7'4". Unfortunately, he had the reason he was so big is because he had a condition that caused him to grow at an exponentially fast rate.
Yeah.
I believe it's pronounced acromegaly. I'm looking at it here on the screen. But you could fit a hard-boiled egg through one of his rings.
What?
How big his fingers were.
Wow.
Yeah, so Andre did win a WWF championship. He, of course, is famous for the WrestleMania 3 match with Hulk Hogan. Everybody knows that match where he was body slammed. I mean, just one of he was in the Princess Bride.
True.
So I mean, just one of the greatest wrestling names in history. You know, throwing aside heel or face, Andre is just one of the greatest of all time.
There's a really cute story with Andre, by the way, that I just read about, where apparently Fred Savage, the only scenes that he had was just him and Peter Falk, so he really didn't have. He didn't really get to see a lot of the other casts, so he was a huge WWF fan at the time, and he really wanted to meet Andre the Giant. So they made it so he could meet up with him, and they hung out on set for a little bit, and apparently they became pretty good friends, so much so that every Christmas up until his death, Andre the Giant would send him a Christmas card, and Fred Savage said he always looked forward to that. So.
Dude, that's cool.
If it's true, that's really cool and really cute, you know?
Yeah.
Triple H, on the other hand, totally different kind of heel. Triple H, his career really didn't take off right away. He came in as Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He was the snobby, kind of rich, kind of I'm better than you. Came out to the really chintzy music, did the little curtsy thing.
He was a blue blood.
He was a blue blood, right. Always a great sound in-ring technician, but never really took off until he joined D-Generation X with Shawn Michaels, and that's whenever he became Triple H.
Uh-huh.
And for me, when I think of Triple H as a heel and as a great heel, I think that started in 1999 when he departed D-Generation X. And kind of started doing his own thing. He really came into his own. And in my humble opinion, one of the greatest heels of all time. He had a run, just an incredible run. Several World Heavyweight Championships, headlined so many different pay-per-view events. Just some of the angles he was involved in, marrying Stephanie when she was asleep at a drive. I mean, some of it was cringeworthy, but I mean, it just, you just hated the guy. I mean, you hated the guy. He was such a jerk. I mean, hitting people with sledgehammers, always wanted to injure his opponents. So it took him a while to come into his own. But for me, it was at that point, that 1999 turn, when he dropped the DX stuff and everything else. That's when he became a true, serious heel.
Probably also when Shawn Michaels went away for a bit, that kind of helped him.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he took his own career into his own hands at that point, and it was really compelling.
He's come a long way. Cause I remember when Ultimate Warrior beat him like in less than a minute.
Yeah, and that was punishment for the curtain call.
Yep, the famous curtain call. Yep.
Enrique says, "Sorry, my uncle went by Corey Chavez, not Gordy." That's all right, Enrique. No problem. We corrected it, so it's no problem at all. We've got some votes coming in, so let's start counting these votes.
All right. I have votes coming in too from my family crest.
Okay, so Kevin's here. Why don't we have you count Andre the Giant's votes, and Darren, let's have you count Triple H.
All right. Could you put 2 down for Andre already, Kev? All right. And I have 2 for Triple H.
Wow. Okay, split the vote.
Maybe the Supreme Court comes in.
Let's see. Angie, thanks for joining in, Angie. We appreciate it. I don't think I said that earlier. Angie's voting Andre. Frank votes Andre. Bonnie votes Andre. Enrique says, "I love Andre, but Triple H would cheat and find a way to win."
True.
My mom says Andre. My dad says Andre. Austin Fox says Andre. Andrew says Andre. And Frank says Andre was only a heel for about 2.5 years period. Early Andre was amazing for all you young people.
He was.
It's true.
And where are we at on the votes?
I have 10 for Andre.
3 for Triple H.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think Triple H is going to come back. We're just going to call this one.
I can't believe it.
Andre ran away with that.
Yeah.
Triple H was such a good heel. That's surprising to me. Not surprising to me that Andre won. It's just surprising to me that it was a runaway.
Right.
Oh, shocking.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, I've got the next one here, guys. We are going to be talking about 2 of the most notorious, I guess you could say, enemies to the United States of America. We'll be talking about the Iron Sheik versus Sergeant Slaughter.
Ooh.
All right, so the Iron Sheik, it was born originally in Iran. He is Persian. Little known fact you may or may not know, wrestling is actually a major sport in the nation of Iran. And of course, after the takeover in 1979 of the Ayatollah, Iran was, for lack of a better term, not friends of the United States. And to put the Iron Sheik in there as kind of the anti-American was a brilliant piece of heel work if I've ever seen one. The guy could draw so much heat. He was hated so much, but you just kind of love to hate him. And one of my favorites is in his interview because he didn't have the greatest English. Instead of Mean Gene Okerlund, he would call him Gene Mean, which always used to make me laugh. He ended the legendary 5-year world title run of Bob Backlund. I mean, that was legendary when Arnold Skolin threw in the towel during his famous camel clutch maneuver. And then after that, of course, we're talking about he lost the belt to Hulk Hogan in 1983 and then spawned on maybe the greatest WWF title run of all time. I love the Sheik. His promos are amazing. He called people jerks. He said Americans were morons. I mean, this guy he could really draw the heat, man. He was great. And then we moved to Sergeant Slaughter, who did one of my favorite promos. It's the Cobra Clutch Challenge, where he would actually bring people in to try to break his Cobra Clutch. Now,
he called it a Cobra Clutch? I thought it was always called a Camel Clutch.
No, it's the Cobra Clutch for him.
No, the Camel Clutch was actually the Iron Sheik's move.
Oh, okay.
Clutch was Slaughter.
Wow,
Slaughter,
I never caught that before.
Yeah, he did the Cobra Clutch Challenge, one of which is he had a demonstration where he would show somebody that, hey, I'll show you what the Cobra Clutch looks like in real life. And that guy would come on, he's like, oh, thanks for putting that on. And then he'd just squeeze it in and he'd just choke out the common man. Sergeant Slaughter has a legendary chin. He's always yelling, which is amazing.
And spitting.
Yeah, he's like a former Sergeant. And then, of course, he made a massive heel turn where he openly on television supported Saddam Hussein during the Persian Gulf War. Yeah. Once again, drawing tremendous heat. I mean, these are two unbelievable villains in wrestling.
Yeah.
This is going to be a tough one because when Sergeant Slaughter turned heel, he generated so much heat that he was getting death threats. So,
right. Yeah.
You know.
And you know what else made him very unpopular, Alan? He actually took the World Wrestling Federation belt from the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Hakeem
By
just
the way,
popped in.
What's up, Hakeem?
Thanks for joining.
Does anybody follow Iron Sheik on Twitter by any chance?
No.
It's
Endless entertainment.
It is pretty entertaining. he is pretty entertaining. His documentary on Netflix is pretty good, too.
I feel like him and Dionne Warwick have, like, really on-point Twitters then. Because she's, like, if no one's following Dionne Warwick, you need to be. Like, legit. She's talking about, I will wear this fanny pack. I don't care how I look. Young people, I love my fanny pack. Like, she's great. She's great. Gotta love her. I feel like the Iron Sheik would agree and probably also be wearing a fanny pack. And I could see them going and getting frozen yogurt together, to be honest.
I hope Iron Sheik wins, man, because, I mean, Sergeant Slaughter has a G.I. Joe.
Well, it looks like
kind of makes him like
Slaughter's making a bit of a comeback, but she had a run at first. But we'll see. Yeah. I will note that, like, watching Sergeant Slaughter turn was heartbreaking. Like, for a kid that, like, believed in the American dream, to watch Sergeant Slaughter, like, the American hero, like, just turn on America.
He fought against Cobra.
Yeah, he fought against Cobra, for God's sakes. And then, like, the Sheik was always kind of just a bad guy in the background. And I remember him in the cartoon, with the WWF cartoon that they had. It was him and Rowdy and a few other, I think Nikolai Volkov, the Russian, they were all in there. And I remember when Sheik and the Russian used to tag team off and on, and I really enjoyed that. So these are some great heels. I think when I think heels, I think of these two pretty much. Like, they're classic heels. So this is a good match. No matter which way it goes, I'm going to be happy, to be honest.
Do you think that heel turn of Slaughter is equivalent to when Hogan turned?
Yeah, I would say. To honestly though, because of my age, I think it made a bigger difference to me when Slaughter did it versus Hogan. Right. Because at that point, I was too old with Hogan, and I was almost, like, out of wrestling for a while. And then when Hogan was like, I'm turning bad, I was like, this isn't. At that point, I was like, no, come on. This is all fake now. Wrestling's fake because Hogan's always going to be good.
I remember when Sergeant Slaughter was a lackey of Vince McMahon, him and Pat Patterson later on. You know, he'd be part of like that corporation, that crew, and he'd be coming out.
Commissioner Slaughter.
Yeah, Commissioner Slaughter.
Angie,
boy, did he took a lot of Stone Cold Stunners.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a whole show on Patterson and Briscoe, two of the best stooges ever.
Angie, I don't know why Kevin keeps popping out of the frame. I think
I'm doing work in the background.
He's over there snorting coke off my counter.
Doing work in the background.
Yola said butt.
I'm doing work in the background.
Snorting coke off my butt.
Hey, LaRusso, stop hiding your eyes over there with the sunglasses.
All right.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I've got some votes coming in, too.
We got a ton of votes here. Let's get started on this. Okay, so Julio, let's have you count the Iron Sheik, and Kevin, let's have you do Sergeant Slaughter.
All right, Kevin, Julio, I have 2 each, okay? 2 for the Sheik and 2 for Slaughter.
All right.
Wow. Angie votes Iron Sheik for sure. Frank says, ironically, Slaughter and Iron Sheik were allies when Slaughter turned. Yes, right. Very ironic.
General Adnan.
Frank says Iron Sheik.
Colonel Mustafa, actually.
Hakeem says, hey, Rumble fam. Hey, Hakeem, thanks for joining. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, buddy. Slaughter. Jarrett says Slaughter because he had a G.I. Joe figure and vehicle. Bonnie says Sheiky baby. My mom says Sergeant Slaughter. My dad says Sergeant Slaughter. Andrew says Iron Sheik. Austin says Iron Sheik. Jarrett says death of a salesman ruined the American dream for him. Speaking of wrestling. Kate. I think this is Katie. She says, sorry, I'm late. Just got home from work. No problem, Katie. Thanks for joining.
She already voted.
Okay. Hakeem says, the good thing for me is that I never liked Sergeant Slaughter. I really wish Serpentor would have killed him instead of Duke.
Good point.
But in wrestling terms, I vote for the Sarge. So we got another vote for Sergeant Slaughter. Angie says, LOL, my thoughts too. Bad Hogan is bullshit. Thank you, Angie. Appreciate that. That's why he's not in here. Looks like Alexi has joined us. Little Greek Coffee House says, Ravishing Rick Rude, the ass flex. Officially going with Iron Sheik, though. So we got an Iron Sheik vote. And Enrique says Iron Sheik because to this day he still wants to fight Hulk Hogan.
That's true.
Yeah,
True.
He does.
It's very true.
It's all over that Twitter account.
Yeah. So where are we at on number-wise, guys?
I have 6 for Colonel Mustafa's buddy, Sergeant Slaughter.
I have 9 for Iron Sheik.
Ooh. Yeah. So it looks like Iron Sheik might win this one, guys. We have to get 3 more votes for Sergeant Slaughter for a tie, everybody in the chat. So this can happen. There's enough people in the chats. Some people just aren't voting. So if you want to vote, go to the chat section of YouTube Live.
Warriors.
Cast your vote in the chat and let us know. Pop in there and I will count it. Officially.
If you're a true fan of G.I. Joe, a true fan of G.I. Joe, you give your vote to Sergeant Slaughter. He's a man who can take on 50 Cobra Vipers at once.
Are you Wesley Snipes in Blade that you have to have sunglasses?
As a matter of fact, I am.
He wore this into the apartment and challenged me to a fight.
To what?
Another fight, apparently. Like, I don't know. Look at him. He's ready.
Kevin wants your votes, maggot.
Okay, so it looks like we're going to count this officially done. Sergeant Slaughter is out the door. Iron Sheik wins.
You people are un-American.
All right. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Julio will be up next here. We are going to, of course, have a man that can only be described as perfect, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, against a man who can only be described as wonderful, Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff.
That's a good
Kurt
matchup.
Hennig with 2 N's, you boob.
And Mr. Wonderful can still whoop our asses, by the way.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. I loved Mr. Perfect. He was definitely one of my favorite people to watch. And in the 90s, I think he had the Intercontinental title for like the whole entire time in the 90s. Yeah, it seemed like forever. His move was originally the Hennig Plex, and then it became the Perfect Plex. He worked with Bobby the Brain Heenan, and the best thing they could have ever done is put those two together because they were so arrogant and so conceited, and you know, they were bad guys, they were heels, but it was entertaining to watch them. They were fun to watch. Any match that you were completely entertained before it even started. Then you get Kurt Hennig in there, and his technique in the ring was incredible. It was beyond what everybody else was doing. He was an actual true technician in the ring.
Look at him, though. He's a cocky son of a bitch. Just look at his face in this picture. Let me enlarge this picture so the audience can view.
He's about to spit the gum out, too.
Look at him.
Look at that. He's about to spit his gum out at somebody.
Cocky son of a bitch.
Always.
Yeah. And you know what? He garnered so much respect. Every interview that you hear about him, they always talk about how this guy, it didn't matter what was wrong with him. And he had a lot of injuries. I mean, he did not get a major title because of the fact that he had a bad back, but he would always give it 110%, and he definitely earned the respect of the people in the back room, in the locker room. But yeah, he was an ass. I don't know if he was like the evil heel, but his arrogance, kind of Rick Rudish in a way, where that's what made him hated. You know, it's the fact that he was so much better than everybody else, and he knew it. I think when he first started from his debut, it took him a year to lose his first match, and I remember that. If I remember correctly, I think it was Brutus the Barber Beefcake that beat him. I don't know.
That's a great match.
Yeah,
I remember he had a good little rivalry with the Texas Tornado.
He was definitely a badass. Really a great heel. He also was a country singer. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, rap is crap.
Rap is crap. Right, exactly. And he, by the way, he's dead. He's no longer with us.
So let's talk about Mr. Wonderful a little.
Yeah, okay. All right. But by the way, he's a Hall of Famer, as is Paul Orndorff. I remember Orndorff got his first match that I ever saw him was at Madison Square Garden when Hulkamania started. He was on the undercard on that one. He later, the name Mr. Wonderful actually was given to him by Roddy Piper. And he just, one of those things. He has that thing where Piper used to have this thing, kind of like Jericho. He would say something and shit would stick. Yeah. And that's how Mr. Wonderful got his name. Mr. Wonderful is famous for fighting with against Mr. T and Hulk Hogan with Roddy Piper. And that all started because Piper did some stuff to Cyndi Lauper, and Orndorff was Piper's boy. And all of a sudden, he became a face for a little while, saved Hogan, but then did one of the biggest heel moves ever and turned on Hogan. I remember that. I'll never forget about that. It was incredible. And I think he was the one that invented the whole year thing. That Hogan does. When you listen to the crowd. I think that was a Mr. Wonderful thing too.
Huh.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's pretty much
all I know about. I've got a quick thing here I just want to mention.
Oh, yes. Spit your gum out, Julio.
The towel.
Even as a kid, I didn't love Mr. Perfect at all. But I loved batting my gum out after I spit it.
Yeah.
Just because I saw him do the
same thing.
Yeah? Okay, I saw him do it, and I was like...
killed many birds that way.
Right, yeah. You're probably right, but it was the coolest thing ever. I loved spitting out my gum. I still do it to this day.
Yeah.
If I have gum, I'm like, boom, out into the crowd.
I never looked as cool as he did doing it, though.
No, well, I mean, honestly, you couldn't see yourself, so maybe you did.
That's amazing.
You guys remember his promos where he could do any sport? He was like Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
He once had a promo where he threw a football across the field, not as far as Kevin throws, but threw a football and he caught it. They just cut to him catching it because he was perfect.
Just so we don't take too much time on him, one memory I have of him is I love when his manager was the coach, just this totally obnoxious buffoon in a sweatsuit who was blowing his whistle all the time.
Who's this asshole?
Yeah, he was managed by Heenan too.
You're right.
You see that?
Everything all right over there?
Yeah.
Well, we just have... I don't know. Just seems a little bit odd. That's all. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Just want to mention a few comments here, and we'll go on with the voting. So it's Mr. Perfect versus Mr. Wonderful. Julio, let's have you count Mr. Perfect. Darren, let's have you do Mr. Wonderful.
All right. I've got 3 already for Mr. Wonderful. Katie's in the chats now. She's going to vote for herself.
Okay, great. Let's see. Alexi says Mr. Perfect. Jarrett says Mr. Perfect all day. Katie says Mr. Wonderful. Jarrett says he's such an amazing ring tactician. In the ring tactician. He's correct. Enrique says Mr. Perfect. Andy says Mr. Perfect, but tough pick. Andrew says Mr. Perfect. Bonnie says Mr. Perfect. Jarrett says he already voted, but he says Mr. Wonderful looked like the world's angriest dad on steroids.
Yep.
And then we have somebody named Real Action Pro Wrestling. It says, first and foremost, I wanted to pop in the chat and say hello to Darren, Kevin, and of course my brother from another mother, Alan. But I've sat back and watched along for a while now. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, Real Action Pro Wrestling, but thank you for just not mentioning me. I don't know. Frank says Mr. Perfect. Hakeem says, I used to always spit out my gum in the same way when I was into gum. I often missed, but not for lack of trying. I vote for Mr. Perfect.
Wow.
That's cute. My mom says Mr. Perfect. My dad says Mr. Perfect. Louis says, vote for Mr. Perfect, still spits his gum into the air and hit it with a hand to throw it far away. And Austin says Mr. Perfect. And Scorch, thank you for joining us, Scorch, says Mr. Perfect. And then another comment from this guy, Real Action Pro Wrestling. And he says, I am glad to see Donald is conducting himself better tonight, like he should have last week. I almost feel bad for giving that pretty shot. Okay.
Whoa! What's going on here? What's going on?
Yeah, you're real funny, asshole.
Whoa! What's going on here? What's going on here? Is that who I think that is?
It's got to be.
I mean, who else could
I don't. You shouldn't be on here.
Well, kick him out if you have a problem.
I can't kick somebody out of this, but just like you need to go away. In other words. Okay, so where are we at on the votes, guys?
I've got 4 for Mr. Wonderful.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 for Mr. Perfect.
All right, well,
Yeah, I think Mr. Wonderful's out the door.
That's a perfect win.
Yep.
You're not kidding.
All right.
Memorable guy.
Yep.
All right, Alan, we're moving on. You're up. We are going to do 2 people, one of which is a current politician, the other of which is a current movie star. We, of course, are going to be talking about the animal Batista versus the big red machine Kane.
Batista, 6'4" tall, was a member of Evolution.
Awesome.
Interesting, Darren, you might know, or maybe you don't know, that Batista and Jerry Lawler both, I believe it was both of them, when Batista was in OVW, made an appearance together at a promotion you might be familiar with, UWC, back in the early 2000s.
Yes.
Batista, he's multiple world champion, master of the Batista bomb, just this big hulking guy. But I always think of Batista more for his baby face stuff. I always thought he was a better face personally. But I mean, it's hard to deny his time in Evolution.
Yeah.
Some of his more recent stints with the company, and of course pinned up against Kane, who is, as you mentioned, the mayor of Knoxville, Knox County, Tennessee. But Kane was terrifying when he first came in. If anybody remembers, he was the brother of the Undertaker.
Right.
Showed up, ripped the door off of the Hell in the Cell, and for weeks they'd have guys coming down, beating him with pipes and everything else, and he would just keep sitting up like Michael Myers and keep coming at you like you're like the Terminator or something. This guy, and he's been ever since one of the most dominant forces in WWE. One of my favorite angles he was involved in was with Steve Austin when they did the first blood match. Title change hand a couple times. I mean, I remember thinking, as I was a lot younger back then, I was a kid and thinking, there's no way anybody could beat this guy, and nobody could beat this guy. He was, he came in originally though as Isaac Yankem. Does everybody remember Isaac Yankem?
Wow.
Yes, so.
Wow.
And also,
definitely.
Do you remember that cool promo Kane did with The Rock and Hogan in the 6-man tag? That was great. He did an impersonation of both of them. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Dude, The Rock's face in that is hilarious.
Yeah. He's had a tremendous career, and definitely a guy who's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. So
easy.
Yeah, definitely.
Kane, to me, what really strikes me about him is he's about 6'10" ish.
7 foot exactly, according to. Well, he's built at 7 foot.
So
right,
built at 7 foot.
He is so tremendously athletic for someone who's 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
This guy does flying clotheslines off the top rope, and it's not even a challenge for him. And he's also like enormous too. Like he's not just like a tall he's ripped. He's got huge arms, huge chest. I'll tell you what. If that mayor gives me an order, I am going to follow it. I do not want a tombstone pile driver. That's simple.
Or a chokeslam.
He tombstone Linda McMahon on an episode of Raw.
Sure. She deserved it.
She did.
Do you guys remember the match that he was in where it was like the first person to be on fire would lose?
The Inferno match. He caught his foot on fire.
Yeah. Shit was stupid.
That was not their finest moment.
No, I think the Punjabi prison match is the WWE's finest moment.
Do you remember like how he was also a silent character?
Yeah.
And then apparently he could only speak with a voice box because he was
Yeah.
on fire. And then
Yeah.
he was a maskless wrestler. And
You
then
know-
he was bald.
I always thought they should have never taken the mask off. Personally, I mean, I know that characters have to evolve and everything, but the more you learned about Kane and the more of a character he became, the less effective he was. Don't get me wrong; he was still very effective throughout his career, but nothing beats early Kane, in my opinion.
Right. No, definitely. Who was the guy who he befriended somebody who made him take off the mask? Was that X-Pac?
I remember being X-Pac. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
We got some votes coming in. First of all, I just want to briefly mention something. Real Action Pro Wrestling, if you can behave yourself, I understand that I may not have represented the podcast to my best ability, and for that I am sorry. Like, to everybody here that's listening.
That's why I'm here. One reason why I'm here.
But also, I don't feel that I got a fair shake, and I feel like things were taken out of context. So, if you're wanting to stay, I'm fine with that. But it looks like you said that you were going to vote. That's fine. We can count that. But if more things are said that are out of line, I'm gonna just cut this out. Like, we're not gonna continue with this. I'm just gonna ignore you, and it's just gonna be the way it is.
Can bygones be bygones at least?
That's what I'm saying for now, like, for the sake of the podcast, that's all.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
So if that's cool with you, it's fine with me. I'm just letting you know. We do have votes now. Are we ready to go to the vote?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Alan, let's have you do Kane, and Julio, let's have you do Batista.
I have 3 for Kane Allen from the Manels.
3 for Kane. All right.
Let's see.
You know what's interesting? When The Undertaker debuted in 1990, his original name was Kane the Undertaker. Interesting enough. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Katie says Dave Batista. Frank says the Mayor versus Drax the Destroyer.
Yeah.
Right.
That's funny. Jared says Kane is so boring.
Wow.
Boring.
Bonnie says the Animal. I don't know who the Animal is.
That's Batista.
That's Batista? Okay. Scorch says Kane, one of the Brothers of Destruction.
True.
Let's see. Jarrett says, I still Batista bomb my toddler son. So
What?
Batista.
You can't do that.
Frank says Batista. Ray says Donald and Kevin, the new tag team champs. High five.
All right.
Let's see. Real Action Pro says, since I'm here, I may as well play along. I'm going with Batista on this one.
Good choice.
Jarrett says Evolution was the shit.
It was.
Angie says, I like it, Ray. Because he likes the team up. Yeah. All right,
Oh yeah, where's our championship belt, Julio? You're supposed to send that over.
Hey, can we call ourselves...
I had something. I couldn't go to the shop.
Oh.
Can we call ourselves the Brothers of Soul?
The Brothers of Soul?
I think your partner wears sunglasses indoors, bro.
That's a good one, though, right?
You need your sunglasses at least.
Oh, I'll get my sunglasses here in a moment. We're still counting. Enrique says Kane because of Team Hell No. Amish is asking what happened. Amish, I'll fill you in a little later. Mom says Kane. Dad says Kane. Amish says Kane. Scorch says at Amish. Shaw. Donald said something to Bubba Ray Dudley.
Bubba Ray Dudley.
Andrew says Kane. Scorch says in 1999, X-Pac told Kane to take off his mask and say "suck it."
True.
Ray says Batista bomb. Reaction Pro says, okay, I'm 100% okay with being the bigger person. Letting things go. It really was a half apology. I'm gonna be honest. Like, look, man, It just we just leave it at that. Like it was. You get half of one. I'm not gonna like kiss your ass. It's just not gonna happen. I'm sorry. Hakeem says Batista on this one. Louis says Batista. And then Amish says, I don't know Kane, so going with Batista. And then Austin Fox says Batista.
Ooh, that was a comeback.
All right.
So you have to take away one from Kane and give one to Batista because that's what Amish, like he voted strangely, I guess, or I mistook what he said. So where are we at on this vote?
I got 11 for Batista.
Well, I think we only 9 or 10 for Kane with the moving of the vote, but it's not 11, so.
Okay, so we're probably down by 1, if not 2, from Kane.
Yeah.
So let's wait a moment and see if we're going to get any more votes for Kane, and we'll go from there.
And it is a possibility we may have to bust out the Supreme Court robes if it comes down to it to decide the winner.
So you all are aware, if this ends up in a tie, the 5 of us will actually vote to see who moves on.
Darren, you get to be the John Roberts of the court here.
I do, because I'm the best-looking one.
Wow. Are you insulting Julio's mother? How dare you? Julio is like the Latin American dream. How dare you?
Kevin, we all know you're on drugs. Take the sunglasses off and reveal it to the world, okay?
Wow.
Just do that.
See no evil.
Talk about being a villain.
Jeez, seriously.
I think you would vote Kane out of pure fear of the hellfire and brimstone.
If Kane were standing right here, I'd vote for whichever way you'd want me to vote.
That's right.
Well, Batista can probably threaten you too.
I met Batista on the set of the movie, and he was just coming down to visit the director. He asked me for instruction. That man has the longest arms you've ever seen, I swear to you. This dude literally has giant arms. They're like snakes.
Hey, guys, I'm going to jump away for just a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. We'll see you in a second.
Refill time.
Brothers of Soul, unite!
All right, so where are we standing on the vote here?
I have 11 for Batista.
Yeah.
So
Has Kane gotten anywhere yet?
9 for Kane, correct?
9 or 10. 9 or 10, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna give it to Batista. Kane lost.
Oh,
Ooh, that was close.
That was super close. This really did not go the way I expected because I don't remember Batista wrestling at all.
Nope.
So you know.
I really don't think he's much of a wrestler. I mean, I wouldn't tell him that to his face.
no, you certainly wouldn't.
No, but when he was in Evolution, man, that team was awesome.
By the way, we do have a really quick announcement. Just a really quick announcement. Take it away. That's right. We are the Real Short Box here, and we do have sponsors, guys. We have sponsors here at the Real Short Box. Let me just mention them briefly. We have some great sponsors. First of all, we have some wonderfully, beautifully delicious hot sauces, everybody. So anybody that's interested, we have halfshotsauce.com. If you go to their website, we do recommend some of these flavors. In particular, I would say that the Indigo Fire, the Sugar Rush Peach, and the Pineapple are amazing. I just had the Pineapple. It's a pineapple hot sauce. Another one is called Trippy Pickle. It's amazingly delicious on burgers. It's got a dill pickle heat to it. It's really good, guys.
That's very interesting.
Highly recommend. halfshotsauce.com. They're an Ohio-based company, Alan, which is where you're based currently. So
yeah, you've piqued my interest.
highly recommend it. And in fact, I think we've got a coupon code I can give you that'll save you a little bit of money on the website itself. Now, besides that, we have one more sponsor. Now, this is a big one. This is a relatively new sponsor for us, considering. But we are talking about, let me just bring this up. Splattered Frog Brewing. Splattered Frog Brewing is a Texas-based company that they've just started out. They just finished a freshly brewed batch of cold, what was it? It's cold-blooded wheat. Cold-blooded wheat is what they just finished a batch of. Looks amazing.
Cold-blooded?
Sounds amazing. Yeah, cold-blooded wheat beer. So I'm really excited to try it. I think he's going to be sending me out some. So Julio, I'll see if I can bring some to the shop or something for some people to try.
Awesome.
Beer and hot sauce. I don't think there's a better combination.
Right. Right?
Just add tacos.
And guess what? Memorial Day weekend's coming. What a better time.
Now, if you go to the website that I'm going to put in the chat right now, you go to splatteredfrog.com, and you type in the coupon code HEADLOCK.
Whoa.
Now, it can be in all caps or not all caps. It doesn't matter. HEADLOCK. You will get 25% off your order. Now, it's just a merchandise order right now because they can't sell alcohol right now over the border past Texas for right now, but they're working on it. But you can get one of these wonderful T-shirts or one of these amazing hats. I have one of the hats right here. I love it. I wear it. Julio can attest to it. I wear it all the time at the shop. I'm always advertising for Splattered Frog. It's a really comfortable, really good hat, really good quality mesh hat in the back, nice in the front. You can get one for under $20, and that's including shipping with that coupon HEADLOCK. So please check out Half's Hot Sauce at halfshotsauce.com and Splattered Frog Brewing at splatteredfrog.com.
All right. Well, we have two more first-round matchups. Kevin, you're up on this one. We will be talking about two of the most narcissistic physical specimens in the history of pro wrestling. We, of course, are talking about Ravishing Rick Rude against Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner.
Technically, it's Julio, but we could do it together.
Okay.
Sure. You go ahead. You do Rick Rude, and I will do Scott Steiner.
Well, the Ravishing one, and of course our co-host who's in the chat, Jared, this is one of his favorite wrestlers. Rick Rude, who's also just like his best friend Kurt Hunting, is from the great state of Minnesota.
You have a fucking stroke.
Rick
Rude and Kurt Hunting?
Well, no, like his real name was like Rick Rude. His real name was like Rick Rude. But anyway,
I thought you were.
No,
I was worried. I was worried for him for a moment.
It smelled like OODE.
But Ravishing Rick Rude, I mean, you look at his body, the women, when he would get out there and take out that robe and say, for all you fat, out of shape, pencil neck geeks, let me show you the body of what a real man looks like. And you literally would see women in the crowd licking their lips, sticking their tongue out. They were going crazy. I mean, women would actually come into the ring and actually, he'd bring them over and give a big smooch. I was like, wow, this guy's the man. And, you know, he was. I mean, he had the charisma, he had the look, and he had a great finishing move. You know, I used to love that neck breaker move, the Rude Awakening. I mean, really, you put that on someone in real life, you can kill somebody.
Yeah, that was a great move. Well, I like I said earlier to you guys, I didn't know what to say about Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner, the genetic freak. I knew he was a heel. He looked like a heel. He acted like a heel. But I think the most memorable things were the weird quotes that he thought were so awesome. And you were like, what? One time he had beat DDP, and while DDP was recovering in the hospital, he said, DDP, while you're in the hospital screaming in pain, your wife will be on her back screaming my name.
No, let me select it.
Wasn't his wife a Nitro girl, right?
I believe so. I see at the time. And then another one was, well, you see, I come from a highly educated university. So when I come out here to speak to these white trash, I got to dumb it down for them.
Oh, it's true. He went to the University of Michigan.
Doesn't Steiner look like Hulk Hogan in Billy Graham Had a Love Child?
Yeah, kind of.
Am I wrong?
He does.
The big booty daddy.
Absolutely looks like that. He looks like Graham and Hogan, like, got it on and had a butt baby, and that was Scott Steiner.
Those peaks are just ridiculous.
Yes. He actually was. I remember that he was. A lot of people were talking about how he got so big that he was doing steroids, and the WWE was like, "Oh, well, we're gonna check you for steroids," and he says, "Well, if you do that, you need to check Triple H," and he avoided getting steroid tested.
Yes.
So he wasn't dumb.
Right.
He's not a dumb guy.
I've heard that. I've heard that story before. Yeah, I do remember hearing that. Smart. Yeah.
Okay.
Protecting his interests.
Let's count some votes. Yeah.
Oh, dude, did you guys watch the promo of him doing his math promo?
Oh, that's crazy.
I was gonna try to bring it up, but the GIF, like the GIF that we have, the GIF doesn't work. So unfortunately, I can't bring that up. But
you guys
they're like them different percentages.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
I almost crashed my car. Somebody played it for me on the way back from Vegas, and we're just sitting there listening to the podcast on the way back, and somebody put that in, slipped it in, and I swear to God, I was crying. You guys have to check out Big Papa Pump's math promo.
You know,
it's worth the look.
If Ravishing Rick Rude and Scott Steiner had a tag team match with the Brothers with Soul, I got a feeling that we would win.
As long as we avoid the Rude Awakening, yeah, sure.
Well, you definitely
or the Frankensteiner.
I mean, we got the look. Look at this.
We may have the look. The problem is, can we avoid the Frankensteiner and the Rude Awakening?
Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah, it's cool.
Brothers of Soul.
Thing is, we got to avoid those finishing moves, though.
Yeah.
Those some deadly finishing moves.
That's right.
No comment.
That's right. That's right. Oh, yeah.
By the way, who'd be the manager? Who'd be the manager?
Oh yeah, Julio. Oh yeah.
No.
Who's the manager?
He'd be the manager, and they'd always just accidentally throw a chair at him.
Accidentally not show up to the show.
That hurts. That hurts.
I'm there in spirit at ringside.
All right, we've got a lot of comments and a lot of votes coming in, so let's get to it. I got a feeling it's going to be a bloodbath, everybody. So, Alan, can we have you take Scott Steiner? We'll have you take a little bit of a break, I think.
3 for Steiner, Alan. 3 for Steiner.
3 for Steiner.
Wow. Darren, let's have you do Ravishing Rick Rude.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Scorch says the Kane gimmick was 100 times better than Isaac Yankum's DDS.
Yes.
Hakeem says dope promo. Thank you, Hakeem. Very much appreciate that.
Thank you.
We wanted to kind of unveil it around the wrestling time to be a little cool, with the gold belts and the gold logo for the Real Short Box. So thank you. Let's see. Hakeem says y'all need to let me know where I can get some of that beer and hot sauce for when I return to the USA. Hakeem, when you come back, come to LA, dude, and I'll get you a bottle somehow, some way, and some hot sauce too. We'll hook you up. Jarrett votes for Ravishing Rick Rude, of course.
No surprise there.
Katie votes for Rick Rude. Jarrett also says, cut the music.
Oh, yeah.
Frank votes for Rude. Enrique votes for Rude. Scorch votes for Rude. He says he was an amateur boxer. Real Action Pro Wrestling votes Rick Rude for me. Steiner was a good heel, but he's more just a dick in real life. Oh.
Yeah, I've heard that.
By the way, he's going to be at We Can Be Heroes really soon.
Nice.
Don't tell him to his face.
Who is? Steiner?
Both of it, him and his brother.
Rick.
Oh.
All right.
Well, it would be, hopefully you can stay in town there, buddy. It'd be good for you to, it'd be good for you to meet them. Again. Angie says Rude. Jarrett says he's the heel of heels. He wore Jake the Snake's wife's face on his spandex balls.
Great.
That's true. That's really bad and amazing.
Yeah.
His real wife and his real balls, says Jarrett. Frank says Rude was the first person to pin the Warrior. Frank, I don't know if that's who you're voting for because you trick me sometimes. So let's not count that.
Yeah, Rick Rude also was like a 6-time arm wrestling champion.
Louis says Rude. Bonnie says Rude. Jared says Rude Awakening was the best finisher, sick and brutal.
Yeah.
Angie says great line. My mom says Rude for me. And my dad says Big Papa Pump.
Ooh.
Man.
Great.
Here we go. Divorce.
Got a split.
Divorce. I knew it was happening.
We know why. I mean, think about it. Your mom probably looked at Rick Rude and said, "Ooh, look at that."
Yeah, that could be. That is where the divorce comes in. Austin says rude. Andrew says rude. Ray says rude. Hakeem says Big Papa Pump, and Amish says rude. It sounds like rude's running away with it. Am I correct?
Yeah, he's got 14 votes.
He is. I counted 5 for Pump, so
it's over.
The Ravishing one.
All right.
Moves on.
And that's it for round 1, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rude 14, yeah.
We've prepared for this. We knew this would be a long podcast, guys. We're in for the long run, but we'll get through this probably within the next half hour, so don't worry.
All right. So I'm going to take the last first-round match here. We're going to have 2 people that, of course, are legendary, more so not in the ring necessarily, but outside of the ring. I, of course, will be talking about Jerry the King Lawler against the genetic jackhammer, Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Ooh.
This is great. I didn't know Vince McMahon was so good at being a piece of shit until
Really?
Stone Cold Steve Austin, came to the forefront.
Pushed him over the edge.
All right, so Jerry the King Lawler, of course, was not only an outstanding in-ring talent in the local Memphis territory, but quite possibly the greatest heel commentator of all time outside of maybe Bobby the Brain Heenan. Jerry's always rooting for the bad guy in the match, giving a perfect dichotomy between him and Jim Ross. He's been known to make people kiss his feet as penance. He will interfere in matches, smack you with his golden scepter, and of course is infinitely famous for his live on-air stunt with Andy Kaufman on the David Letterman show, where he reached across the desk and smacked Andy right in the face while he had a neck brace on. So, obviously, Jerry the King Lawler is amazing.
That wasn't real, or was that real?
That was staged. He actually hit him, but it was real.
No shit.
Or it was staged, but he actually hit him.
Huh.
All right, and then Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the chairman of the WWE. You all know him very well, so all I'm going to do is run over some of his greatest antics of all time.
Don't run, power walk.
Yes. He had a handicap match against Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels' tag team partner was God, where he actually had a spotlight have follow air down the entryway.
So bad.
He had a hair versus hair match versus him and Donald Trump. Whoever lost the match would have to shave their head, which he did. Jim Ross, our famous commentator, was suffering from colon cancer, and Vince visited him in the hospital as Dr. Heine with his Playboy model nurse named Nurse Slobberknockers to go ahead and mock one of Jim Ross's famous terms. There was a storyline where his wife, Linda McMahon, was actually comatose in a wheelchair, and he was making out with Trish Stratus right in front of her as she was completely comatose. He also made Trish Stratus later strip to her underwear, get on all fours, and bark like a dog. He had an I Quit match against his own daughter, Stephanie McMahon, where he choked her out with a lead pipe.
Wow, that's disturbing.
He also claimed Hornswoggle, who was the leprechaun who accompanied Finley. He declared him his illegitimate son in a storyline. And, of course, has overseen many other insane storylines, as he is the final approval, including 77-year-old Mae Young giving birth to a hand. So, you all know who we're talking about here, the genetic jackhammer, Mr.
Hey, Darren. You forgot to mention the Kiss My Ass Club.
How could I forget the Kiss My Ass Club? If you wanted to keep your job, you had to go in the center of the ring as Mr. McMahon pulled his pants down, and you had to kiss his rear end.
Yeah.
He would offer you chapstick, though.
Yeah.
He would offer you chapstick.
And he would do that dance thing. He would be like, Jingle.
Yeah, he enjoyed.
You know, what's interesting, the Mr. McMahon character was actually created in the Memphis territory with Jerry Lawler's company. They actually discovered this. I didn't know this. Back in the mid-'90s, he actually did a thing there where it was only in the Memphis area. Only people there knew about it. Where Mr. McMahon came in as like a heel and was pushing, his WWF characters who were coming in to wrestle. So you just be like a total jerk. So the original Mr. McMahon character was actually in the USWA.
But didn't the character like really get his kickstart during the Montreal Screwjob?
True, very true.
Yeah, that when it became like an organic thing at that point.
Yes. Great, by the way. Great.
Well, he gave that interview the night after the screw job, the Screw Brett thing.
Oh, so
and it's
good.
like he just doubled down on it.
Oh.
And it just
Screwed Brett.
Darren, I got a feeling if you continue to wrestle, you would have a kiss my ass club. No?
He's thinking about it.
He is.
Pondering.
He's very quiet.
Hey, Alan, I'm pretty sure I know what you want to say to Donald right about now. Something to the degree of, "You're fired."
shut up.
So good. So good.
Okay, so let's get started on the votes, yeah?
Sure.
Okay, so we have Vince McMahon versus Jerry the King Lawler. Let's say, Kevin, why don't you do Vince McMahon? Julio, let's have you do the King, Jerry the King Lawler.
By the way, coming by this July to We Can Be Heroes Comics.
I can't wait.
Scorch says, what I like right now is for all you SummerSlam sweet hogs to keep the noise down so I can show the ladies what a real sexy man looks like.
That's right.
True.
Oh, I've got 3 for Vince McMahon from my family.
All right.
Katie says, Jerry the King.
Jerry
Angie
King.
says, Vince, I want to punch him in the face just seeing that picture. Ray says, the King. Enrique says, McMahon was such a great heel, but I have to give it to the King. Bonnie says, Vince, hands down. Andrew says, the King. Scorch says, Vince. My dad says, King. My mom says, McMahon.
Wow.
And now they're divorced. Jesus.
Wow.
Jarrett says, McMahon. The I have a stick in my ass, walk alone. And Hakeem says Vince wins on pure villainy, and Austin says McMahon as well. So I got a feeling it's pretty close, but McMahon's probably ahead just by a little bit.
I can't believe this one's close.
I got 5 for Lawler.
I got 10 for
Ooh.
Vincent K. McMahon.
You got 11 now.
Make it 11 for Vincent K.
I think that's
McMahon.
it. We're going to call this one.
Before we go, I know that Lawler's going to lose this, but that guy is so influential to wrestling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's so important. He's done so much more than WWE, man.
As an MC alone, like, I remember my friend Derek, and if you ever watch this podcast even once, which he hasn't, I'm sure, you would know that that he would always quote like Jerry the King as an MC from when he was sitting ringside and talking and stuff. He always loved his energy and how shitty he was to certain people and stuff. And that says a lot about a person's character, like as a true villain within the ring, but also outside of the ring to carry that on.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Very few people have been able to do it.
Oh, by the way,
doesn't break kayfabe.
According to my mom, my dad just called her a peckerhead.
Wow.
So, shit's getting real over there. We better call this quick.
You better call your sisters over there.
We're going to give this to McMahon.
Get on the couch.
We're giving it to McMahon.
By the way, the stuff he did with his real life wife to like humiliate her was also kind of crazy on television.
McMahon?
Yeah, Linda, like his wife. He would do things to humiliate his
We
wife.
mentioned that with Stratus, who's in the background right here.
Yeah.
No line he wouldn't cross. Hit her and Vince there.
So Vince takes it. All right, let's go lightning rounds, guys. We're going into the second tier of this, the second bracket, so to speak. So let's get this going.
Yeah, we've done all the talking we need to, so you just got to vote, folks.
Yep.
We're going to move.
It'll be a minute per vote, everybody. 1 minute. I'm going to put it on my phone.
And the timer.
On the stopwatch. Right here.
One time Vince McMahon tore both of his quadriceps jumping into the ring. I was the chat.
I was at that match. I was at that match. That was in Fresno. Everybody got hurt. Lita got hurt. Vince got hurt. Eddie got hurt that match. Yeah, I was in the second row in Fresno for that.
Wow.
Great.
All right, guys, here we go. We're going to do our first quarterfinal match. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. We, of course, will have Jake the Snake Roberts against the Rocky Mountain Monster, the Mastodon, Big Van Vader.
Ooh, this is going to be a good one. So Jake the Snake versus, let me pull the picture for Van Vader before we all start voting. I'm sorry, it takes me about 30 seconds later than Darren to say it.
And this was actually a semifinal match at the 1996 King of the Ring.
Ah, the same one that our boy Stone Cold won. Am I correct?
Yes, correct.
Angie says, ouch. Louis says Lawler started berating Bret Hart's entire family, which also included this quote when he said, "You remember Stu and Helen? They created more tragedies than Shakespeare."
He always had the zingers, man. I remember he said, I wouldn't believe, was it Stu Hart he was talking about? I wouldn't believe Stu Hart if his tongue was notarized. I remember, I think it was in a WrestleMania or something.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna turn. All right, we got votes coming in. I'm going to let the people here decide who wants to take Jake the Snake and who wants to take Van Vader.
I'll take Vader.
I'll take Jake.
Okay, we got it.
I think this is going to be a blowout.
Alan's going to take Jake the Snake. Darren's going to take Big Van Vader. And votes are coming in. You guys have 1 minute on the clock. I'm going to start it right now. Boom. Here we go.
Look at you. So professional.
I know, right? I'm crazy professional. Brothers with souls.
Ooh.
This is cracking me up. It's ridiculous.
We're starting a professional tag team, Alan. I don't know if you knew that.
I don't know. Julio
has nothing to do with wrestling.
I hate to say this, but Julio might be closer to correct. We might be a bunch of jobbers, man. I don't want to be a jobber.
I don't even know what that means.
It means we lose most of the night.
It means
guys. That's what my dad would refer to as cream puffs.
Yeah, the cream puffs.
Cream puffs, guys. Say it correctly now.
It's okay.
Dude, you have the job of being in the ring for 4 minutes, putting over a much more popular tag team.
And much more talented.
Hey, look at my mean face. You ready? Ready for my mean face? Here it comes.
No.
All right, we can work on it a little bit. But,
yeah.
Not bad, though, right?
We'll get there.
I will take a $10,000 check.
Kevin, show him your mean face.
Y'all manage you guys over Zoom or Skype.
Hey, Kevin,
wrestling.
Kevin, do me a solid real quick and shut up.
I didn't even speak.
Shut up.
Okay, so we are just past a minute, so I'm going to stop it. We're going to start counting votes once Darren is okay.
Once Darren's sedated.
Once Darren's
Darren having a seizure?
I don't know. Uh-oh, Julio disappeared. Where you at, Julio?
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Shit, indeed.
Wow.
Oh, shit. Oh, there he is. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, so we already have our selected voters here. So, Alan, you are doing which one?
Jake the Snake, which I'm up to, what I can see is 12.
Okay, so, and Darren is doing Vader. So let's get this counted up. Enrique says Vader. Bonnie says Vader. Jarrett says Jake the motherfucking Snake.
Wow.
Hakeem says Jake the Snake. My mom says Jake the Snake. My dad says Jake the Snake. Angie says Jake the Snake, my first favorite wrestler. Good choice, Angie. Scorch says Jake the Snake Roberts. Frank says Jake the Snake. Andrew says Jake the Snake. Amish says Jake the Snake. Purpose and Chai says Jake the Snake. Real Action Pro Wrestling says Jake the Snake. Austin says Jake the Snake. Louis says Jake the Snake. Ray says Jake the Snake.
It's a massacre.
Katie says Vader because he was in 3 Boy Meets World episodes and Jake the Snake was only in 1. Oh, come on, Katie. They were both in 1, though. Frank says
Meets World? That's a weird movie.
Frank says Donald would be the new Brooklyn Brawler.
Ah!
Hey, Brooklyn Brawler was awesome.
I'll take it. I'll take it, Frank. I'll take it, Frank. You know what, Frank? I'll be the Brooklyn Brawler, and I'll meet you with your IRS, buddy.
Brooklyn
Brawler
beat Triple H once.
See? Suck it.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a big one.
Real Action Pro Wrestling says, Julio, you might be onto something there. I could see a Zoom manager gimmick on a show. Wouldn't be out of the question with the way things are. And Sherlock Holmes says, Jake the Snake. Thanks for joining us, Sherlock Holmes. We appreciate it.
And Tommy.
Ray says the Junkyard Dog. Ray, no, was he ever a heel?
I don't know.
I don't think.
I don't know.
Boy, Ray.
If you guys are going to do the wrestling gimmick, you guys should use that zebra print you have on the back as your emblem on your shirt.
Julio, where's Raphael?
I don't know.
Yeah, where's Showtime at?
So we can say Jake the Snake won this one.
Easily.
Yeah.
All right.
Moving on.
Well, next matchup here, of course, we're going to go with the 8th wonder of the world, Andre the Giant, against the Iron Sheik.
Ooh, that's
This is tough because Andre the Giant is a fan favorite, but Iron Sheik is a fan favorite heel. So this is going to be really tough, but I'm going to give the edge to the Giant, but
honestly, I think it's going to be a blowout.
I think the Sheik's going to get it, Jabroni.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I'm calling a blowout on this one, to be honest.
I still can't get the Sheik out of my head calling Gene Okerlund Gene Mean instead of Mean Gene.
And by the way, be careful when you say the Sheik. The Sheik is actually another wrestler who is Sabu's uncle.
Yes.
I have a feeling, though, that if Andre the Giant tag teamed up with the Iron Sheik and fought the Brothers with Soul, they would lose. Yeah.
You know what? I would probably be, digging my grave at that point.
Here's our bout. We go like this. We high five, and then we go, so.
I was just going to say, I think the only thing hurting Andre in this context is the fact that he did not spend as much time as a heel. And the fact that Sheik was one of the top heels of his time.
Yes.
So I think that's the but I mean, Andre's getting a lot of votes, so.
As I predicted.
Yeah, it's kind of a popularity contest, really.
Right. It's just like high school. It's
Real Action Pro Wrestling, I will give it to you. You do break it down correct, so good for you.
No, the man is an expert after all.
No. There's a difference between you can play at being a wrestler and you can actually be an expert wrestler. There's a big difference. Like Andre's like an expert wrestler.
Well, I know contempt for the audience is definitely going to come up at our next production meeting. Just saying.
Okay, who wants to take this? Kevin, you want to take one?
I'll take the Andre.
Okay, Julio, how about we have you do the Iron Sheik?
All right, sure.
Kevin, 3 for Andre from my family.
All right.
Damn, already. Okay, so Frank Huff. By the way, guys, I'm going to start counting on the clock 1 minute. And there we go. Okay, so let's see. Frank Huff says the Giant. Katie says Andre the Giant. Anybody want a peanut? Bonnie says the Sheik. Real Action Pro Wrestling says the Sheik. Enrique says Andre. Jarrett says Andre. Anybody want a peanut? Andrew says Andre. Austin says Andre. Angie says Iron Sheik is 100% heel. You're right. Scorch says Andre the Giant. My dad says Andre the Giant. Louis says Andre the Giant. My mom says Iron Sheik. And then Real Action Pro says, oh man, here we go again. Look, dude, I've just... It's a thing. Like, I have to do this, guy. Like, let's talk, like, we'll talk a minute after this, like, because just stop. Ray says the Giant. Hakeem says Iron Sheik. Katie says at Jarrett, great minds think alike. So where are we at on this already, guys?
As I predicted, this was going to be a blowout. I have 13 for Andre the Giant.
I have 5 for the Sheik.
Yeah, there ain't no coming back. Sheik is done. Andre the Giant as the heel.
Did you just quote the Crow? There ain't no coming back.
What? The Crow?
Yeah, the movie
Wow.
The Crow.
Did they say that in The Crow?
Absolutely.
Maybe as a brother with soul, I did.
Oh, I guess when they shoot him or something, right?
All right, here we go, guys. Our next quarterfinal match is going to be Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig against the Animal Dave Bautista.
This is going to be a landslide.
Who's it? It's the Dave Bautista versus who?
Mr. Perfect.
Got it. Ooh, I'm honestly, I'll give this to Mr. Perfect. Like, just guessing.
I'm not going to tip the scale on this one, but it should be interesting. I mean, if you want a first round match here, you're probably a formidable opponent. That's kind of how I like to look at it.
You know, that Intercontinental Championship belt looks good on him.
Yeah.
I love that belt. I love that design. the old design.
Yeah, definitely.
Just like the on the WCW side, I like the old United States Championship belt design.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the one that spins. That's my favorite.
And just to remind everybody, at the end of this tournament here, we will have one final vote. Our greatest wrestling face, The Undertaker, will take on the winner of this competition.
Very good point, Darren.
Which I have to say, that was a weird one last week.
Yeah.
Weird one this week.
Yeah, that's true too.
Mildly unusual.
I think my favorite belt is the WCW Heavyweight Championship belt.
Just a big gold.
Wait, you mean the NWA? You mean the NWA?
Wait.
Big gold belt.
Wait, hang on. Did you say, like... Alright. Okay. Well, there's that. Darren doesn't like Mr. Perfect, I guess. I don't know.
That can't be. That was his theme song early at the beginning of the year.
I don't know.
He has to like it.
I don't know.
All right. So I just so you know, this is not kayfabe. This is real. I actually strained my oblique, so getting around is quite challenging for me right now.
Oh no.
But yeah, so I had to get up and just stretch in a second.
Yeah, about to say that was your theme song at the beginning of the year. I knew you had to appreciate that.
Of course.
Okay, so we're going to start counting some votes. Who would like to take Mr. Perfect?
Darren?
I'll take him.
Oh, sorry, Darren.
Julio's taking Mr. Perfect.
Yep.
Darren, Baptista okay as a booby prize?
Totally. One for Batista already, and Julio 2 for Mr. Perfect from my family.
Okay.
Okay, so.
My wife votes John Cena.
You're saying to have to treat me with disrespect like that's just your thing then. Look, real action pro wrestling, again, as I've said over and effing over again, dude, it's a role I play on the show. Like, it's just the way it is. I don't know how else to say it. Like,
well, just say that you're wannabe Roddy Piper.
Look, Alan, if you can talk to your buddy after the show, this would be great. Like, this would be amazing if you could just do that for, like, 30 seconds. Because I'm tired of saying it, and I'm tired of it being in the chats. And I just want this to be over. Like if there needs to be a rematch, I'm fine with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was... Just we can talk to him afterwards. That would be great.
Sure.
Okay,
you're right,
thank you.
Man, I think it's a little too seriously.
Shut up.
What? Excuse me?
Man.
Wow.
Enrique, okay, so Enrique says Mr. Perfect. Katie says Dave Batista. Real Action says Mr. Perfect. Frank says Mr. Perfect. Jarrett says Mr. Perfect. Ray says Mr. Perfect. Bonnie says Mr. Perfect. Angie says Mr. Perfect. Scorch says Mr. Perfect. Andrew says Mr. Perfect. My mom says Mr. Perfect. My dad says Mr. Perfect. Sherlock Holmes says Batista. Austin says Mr. Perfect. Hakeem says Mr. Perfect. Amish says Batista. Scorch says my favorite belt was the yellow leather intercontinental strap that the Ultimate Warrior wore. That was pretty cool. I remember that.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Angie says I thought Don was in character last show. I don't know quite what that means, but
I do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Reaction says fine by me. Fuck you. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
I'm sorry, guys.
Wow.
We're a PG-13 show, man. Remember that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Getting heated.
Louis says Mr. Perfect.
This is over. It's like 6. I don't know if you counted as well, brother.
Nah, I got 3 votes.
I have like 16 votes for Mr. Perfect.
All right. Batista's done. Mr. Perfect moves on to the next round.
All
17.
Right. Last quarterfinal match, moving right along. Ravishing Rick Rude versus the genetic jackhammer, Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
This is a nice one. It's a good one.
Referring to me.
2 big egos.
Yeah, this is a good one. Ravishing Rick Rude versus Vince McMahon. Yeah, okay.
love it.
No. I mean, is it? Okay. Let me switch that out there.
Vincent Kennedy. So, Alan, do you have any? What's your favorite memory of Vincent Kennedy McMahon?
Oh wow.
They can't get those one, and they didn't do that. Did they?
I mean, the firings have always been my favorite. Oh God, he fired William Regal, Eric Bischoff, Steve Austin. The firings were always my favorite part. I do remember the double quad blow. Watching that. That was, I believe, at a Royal Rumble.
It was a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, he went right down on his ass.
It was the West Side Story Royal Rumble.
Yeah, but he stayed right in character and continued. The best McMahon moment. Oh my God, there were so many. The hospital scene with Austin, that was a good one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Or him and Eric Bischoff.
Dude, you guys like Bischoff? I love Bischoff.
He's all right.
Yeah, he was okay. Like
I prefer Paul Heyman.
He's more WWE than WWF for me.
I prefer Paul Heyman over Eric Bischoff, but
I mean, I felt like Bischoff played a role. I mean, he kind of played the same role Vince McMahon did, but Vince was just better at it.
Yes.
That gyrating.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 on Bischoff. Because I think Bischoff is kind of smart in the fact that he's very bold, but also at the same time, I think he overplayed his hand way too much.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
That was an interesting time. The Monday Night Wars were an interesting time, and they could get away with so much. Their egos were huge. I mean, WCW won
Miss McKinney
almost the whole entire year.
Miss McKinney, do you like this beautiful Rick Rude showing off there? Look at that.
Now, Mom, if he walked onto the stage, into the ring, and he had Dad's face on his crotchical area, what would you say to that? Would you be like pissed off, or would you be like double pleasure? I don't know. Like, is it like double men combat? I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, and let's not forget Ravishing Rick Rude in his short period of time in D-Generation X.
Yes.
That's right.
He was in that?
Yeah, briefly. He was kind of like a bodyguard. He was kind of like hanging around them. Yep. Matter of fact, that was the famous situation where Rick Rude was in WWF, WCW, and ECW at the same time in the same week.
Yeah.
Never been done before.
Okay, so let's count the votes, guys. Who would like to take Ravishing Rick Rude?
I'll do it.
Okay. And who would like to take McMahon? Darren?
Yeah.
That's your boy.
Okay.
I got 3 already for McMahon.
Oh, no. That's not good.
Angie says McMahon as well. Enrique says Rude. Katie says Rude. Ray says Rude. Scorch says Rude. Austin says Rude. My dad says Rude. Bonnie says Rude. Jarrett says Rude. Hakeem says Rude. Andrew says Rude. Frank says Rude was on Raw and WCW Nitro the same night when Raw was pre-taped voting Rude. So Frank says Rude. Louis says Rick Rude. Jarrett's already voted, but he said Rude looked like a yoke John Holmes. My mom actually says McMahon.
What?
Kevin.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Amish says McMahon, and no way, son, Dad would kick his candy ass. Oh,
wow.
Shit.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I'm going to admit, when I was younger, my dad was pretty, to me, he was, huge.
Well,
my dad's, 6'2", 6'3", and was, around the time he was, 270 pounds or something. My dad was a big guy with a big, bushy, black beard.
So he could have wrestled.
He could have. Yeah, absolutely. I always saw him as kind of a wrestling type dude. So
what happened to you? Why are you so small in comparison?
What are you talking about? I'm part of the Brothers with Soul.
But you got
But you
like 40 pounds. 40 pounds of muscle, buddy.
Oh, look at that! Oh!
Wow.
Woo!
Wow.
Yeah. All right.
So this is how these guys from Ohio are like. Are you Ohio guys like this?
I got 6 for McMahon.
You got 6 for McMahon. How many for Rude?
It's 12.
It's a blowout.
Yeah, it's a blowout.
Are they mailing you in votes, Darren?
I know. He's paying his bills when
All right, so McMahon's done. Rude moves on to shake his ass another day.
It's time for the semifinals.
Next
All right,
round.
here we go. Semis. Jake the Snake Roberts versus Andre the Giant.
Oh,
this is
shit.
gonna be a tough one.
No, I think Jason take it.
Everybody keep in mind that whoever wins, like, the final in this has to go on to face The Undertaker.
You know,
for those
I wouldn't mind
of you
seeing Andre
keeping
versus The
track,
Undertaker.
For those of you keeping track, including this one, we have 4 more matchups this evening. We are moving at the speed of wind.
Speed of wind?
Yes.
Interesting.
Like, are you talking about like a tornadic wind? Or
Tornadic. I never heard that term before. Tornadic.
Yeah.
You know, like a cyclonic wind, a cyclone wind.
cyclonic wind?
May I ask you this? Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon?
No, but I know something about the devil and the pale moonlight. I know about that.
Pale moonlight.
That kind of wind. Kind of like the character of Wind in His Hair from Dances with Wolves.
All right, who wants to count up Jake the Snake?
I'll count
Jake.
Jake. Okay, never mind.
Alan for Jake the Snake. Kevin, why don't you have you do Andre?
We're already getting votes for Undertaker here.
Which is bizarre.
Very bizarre. Those do not count yet.
Not yet.
Patience.
Oh, it's a me. She's drunk already.
The Ministry of Darkness is coming. Give it time.
He's drunk already. Mish drinks a lot, man. Like, I think it'd be a good fight to see Mish take on the Brothers with Soul. Yeah!
In a handicap match?
Well, I don't know if he's handicapped.
Maybe have God as his partner.
Have who? Have who? What'd he say?
I don't know.
God.
Oh, well, in that case,
he's got Jesus as his partner. Oh, yeah, he did switch to Christianity. So
it was actually not Jesus. It was God. And he had the spotlight come down in the air.
All right, here we go. What is Brazilian? What do you mean, Jarrett?
Yeah, what's he talking about? You know, it's a Brazilian person?
It's wax.
So Ray says the Giant. Katie says the Giant. Enrique says the Giant. Bonnie says the Giant. Jarrett says Jake the Snake. Amish says the Giant. Andrew says the Giant. Scorch says Jake. Austin says the Giant. Real Pro has to go with Jake for the simple fact that he used to scare the shit out of Andre with Damien. That's true. Andre for my dad. Jake the Snake for Angie. Hakeem says Jake the Snake. Amish has already voted, but he said the Giant was a Princess Bride villain. Well, yes and no. He was also a hero in a way. That's a tough one there, Amish. Jake the Snake for my mom. Again, they're against each other. Jeez.
Ooh.
Frank says Jake the Snake. Amish says he can take us both.
Whoa!
Take the Brothers with Soul?
Wow. That's some serious
I don't know
stuff
about
right
that.
The choreography on your guys' hand slaps scares the shit out of me.
It's amazing. Hakeem says, is it Brothers of Soul or Brothers with Soul? Brothers with Soul. That's what we've been going with for a while now.
BWS?
Could have been Brothers of Soul, but I think I'm past the point of sobriety, so it's probably the Brothers with Soul at this point.
Too much whiskey.
You shut your whore mouth. Louis says Jake the Snake, and Amish says true. So where are we at with these votes? It sounds like it's getting pretty even.
Yeah.
I think I counted 8 for Jake.
I also counted 8 for Andre.
Oh!
So you know,
is it going to go to the council?
You know what? The Supreme Court may have to step
is it going to
in.
go to the Supreme Court Council?
Let me get my robe
Where
ready.
the hell is Sean?
Where's
Sean
the robe?
Leonard always loves this shit.
Where's Raphael?
Oh my God! Where is Raphael?
Where's David Denenberg? Where's Rob Antis?
Oh my God! These guys.
Okay. Should we jump just right to the Supreme Court?
I guess so.
Let's give it 30 seconds.
30.
30 seconds for a vote.
At least we got John Roberts here to break the vote. To break the
30
tie.
seconds for a vote, guys.
I'm watching this chat carefully.
If it doesn't go to anybody within 30 exact seconds,
actually less than that,
it's going to go to the council.
More like 15
I'm
seconds.
getting threats from Amish. That's always fun.
Why is Amish threatening you?
Well,
Wow. That's manipulation of the court, man. You can't
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, no, that's no good.
Look at him. He keeps sending them. He's like, come on, Dawn. Darren, you've got to vote for the Giant. He's like trying to
All right, 30 seconds.
us.
30 seconds have
And
expired.
he challenged us to a fight.
30 seconds have expired, so you know what time it is.
It's over.
So, Supreme Court Justice.
That's us, guys.
Supreme Court Justice Allen.
We get to vote.
Your decision, sir. Who do you vote for?
I'm voting for Jake the Snake.
Oh, shit.
Supreme Court Justice Julio.
Sorry,
Justice Julio, what is your decision?
I'm going to have to go with Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh, shit.
Justice Darren, what is your decision, sir?
I'm going to have to go with Andre the Giant.
Oh, shit.
I am also going to have to go with Andre the Giant. So that means...
Oh, come on, man.
That means...
Come on, man.
Someone's going to hate you. Someone's going to crucify you, Donald. Justice Donald, you will decide who gets to move on. Shall it be Andre the Giant, or will it be Jake the Snake Roberts? It's up to you, Justice Donald.
All right. I'm going to vote for Jake the Snake.
Oh! Oh!
That's right, guys.
Jake the Snake got a DDT.
Andre can suck
Andre
it.
got DDT. Oh my
shit.
God.
Jake the Snake has played a heel his whole entire life.
Well, nice whole
Andre for like 2 years or some shit.
Jake was good for a while.
Sorry, Andre.
Jake was a face for a while.
Jake, boom. Winner.
Jake was not. He wasn't. You mean when he turned to God? He was still a heel. He was still a heel. He was just annoying at that point. That was a shitty character.
What do you mean you take it back, Andrew? He says nice headband, and then he says he takes it back. That says Mr. T. Why do you take that back? You hating on Mr. T? I pity the fool that hates on Mr. T, Andrew.
Yeah, he's getting heated over there.
It is getting heated.
In the chat.
Asleep. Every time Kevin puts his head down, it looks like he fell asleep.
You could tell we're getting to the nitty gritty here.
It's like weekend at Kevin's.
Hey, Brothers of Soul. Brothers of Soul are always awake.
Moving to our next semifinal matchup, we have Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig against Ravishing Rick Rude.
This is
crazy. The two real life best friends, both from the state of Minnesota.
Both dead.
Yes, unfortunately.
Oh shit!
They
both.
Yeah, that was true. They both died young.
I know, but goddamn.
Well, I brought it up earlier with Vader and
China. It happened last week. You know, I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah, I know. All right, so Mr. Perfect versus Ravishing Rick Rude. What do we got?
This is a tough one.
It's a tough one.
I know, right? This is great.
The Perfect Plex versus the Rude Awakening.
Great match.
Two Minnesota greats. A lot of great wrestlers from Minnesota.
These guys also in their careers were two perfect intercontinental champions.
Yes, they were. And they both feuded with the Ultimate Warrior.
Not quite world champions, but so close.
Andrew says it was meant to influence my vote and it didn't work. I'm sorry, dude. Look, I love Andre the Giant, but I've always seen Andre more as a face than a heel.
It's true.
That's where I came down on it too.
It's just one of those things.
Andrew, all we have is our honesty and integrity on this show, so we got to vote with that. That's how this goes.
Now, Donald,
somebody paid me off for
you some money?
No, nobody Venmoed me.
Someone's Venmo you want to take for your
vote? Jesus, maybe.
Oh.
Jesus Venmo me.
Okay, well, that's good.
Okay, so who would like to take the Ravishing one?
I'll take the Ravishing one.
Okay, and who would like to be Mr. Perfect?
I will be Mr. Perfect.
Perfect.
Of course.
Kevin versus Julio.
Because you think you're Mr. Perfect, don't you, Julio?
Yes,
I am perfect.
Okay, Enrique says Mr. Perfect. Katie says Rick Rude. Real Action Pro Wrestling says Mr. Perfect. Jarrett says, great matchup, but I'd rather be Ravishing than Perfect. Angie says Rick Rude. My dad says Mr. Perfect. Bonnie says Mr. Perfect. Scorch says Rick Rude. My mom says Rick Rude, of course. She does. Frank says, this one should be the finals. Mr. Perfect. Austin says Rude, and Ray says Rude. Andrew Asher says Mr. Perfect. So where are we at on these?
I have 7 for Ravishing Rick Rude so far.
I have 6
Ooh, close.
for Mr. Perfect.
We might have to go to Supreme Court again, possibly.
You have another one for Rude. So you have 8 for Rick Rude.
Okay, maybe not.
Come on, people.
8 for Rick Rude and 6 for Mr. Perfect. Guys, cast your vote. I know we don't want to, sway anybody, but my dad did, go up to the ring and ignore the security guard there to take a picture of Mr. Perfect fighting Hulk Hogan. I'm just going to say that. It just happened.
Did Hulk Hogan get the leg drop on him? When it was all
Hulk Hogan was, dude, he won. Of course he won. But he was full on, mid.
Get it hulked up?
Yeah. It was great. Freaking great.
I would like to see that picture.
Dude, I'll bring it. I showed it last time, but I'll bring it right now. Hang on. Kevin, entertain them.
Of course.
Tell us a joke, Kevin.
Tell you a joke? My goodness.
Come on, brother.
Come on, brother. Here it is. Here's the photograph.
That was your opportunity to shine.
Nice. Very cool.
That's a great picture.
Right?
Yeah, it is.
You should get a copy of that and get it signed.
Well,
what year was that taken? 1989?
Yeah, but one of them's not around, so I can't get that signed.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Hogan, I could if you can get the Genius in your shop for a signature.
Oh, yeah.
Lanny Poffo.
Yeah.
Lanny Poffo.
I'd totally do that. That'd be great. That sounds like a winner to me, Julio. So, Evan just popped in. Hey, Evan, are you voting Rick Rude or Mr. Perfect?
You might send it to the Supreme Court again. Come on, Evan.
Evan, do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
We're 2 away, right? We're 6.
Oh, we're 2 away. Okay.
He's gonna vote twice.
We're 6
Who's
and 8.
leading?
I think it's gonna go. I think Rick Rude's winning.
Rick Rude's winning by 2. 8-6.
I think we got to give it to.
He said, "I have no idea
who they are." Okay, we're giving it to Rick Rude.
Dude, you live in Moore Park and you don't know wrestlers' names? You should get booted.
Ray says
Granada Hills or something.
a horse walks into a bar and the bartender asks, "Why the long face?" It's a bad joke.
Julio, did you just do some Moore Park smack there?
Yep.
Ow. Okay.
I fear no one in Moore Park.
Okay, so it looks like Evan. I'm sorry, you did vote for Mr. Perfect, but he was behind by 2. So Ravishing Rick Rude wins and moves on. Who do we have for the finals?
Rick Rude.
We have Ravishing Rick Rude against Jake the Snake Roberts.
This is
Winner goes
such a weird final.
No, that's a good one, man. That's really
The
good.
Battle of the Mustaches.
Yeah.
Jake the Snake Roberts right here. Let me bring up Ravishing Rick Rude again. Guys, everybody in the chat, please vote.
And Alan, thank you for sticking with us. I know you're on East Coast right now.
Yes. Early in the morning over here.
It's almost 1 a.m.
Almost. We're getting there, yeah. I haven't seen 1 a.m. in a while.
Really?
Yeah, no one to blame but us.
We said it in unison.
2 kids. This is a rarity for me.
That's the Brothers of Soul.
Lord.
Wow.
All right, here we go. All right, who would like to do Jake the Snake?
I'll do it. I volunteer.
Okay, who would like to do Ravishing Rick Rude?
I'll do Rick Rude again.
Rude.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Darren.
Yeah, let Darren do it. So Julio's doing Jake the Snake. Darren's doing Ravishing Rick Rude. Here we go.
So this is for the first championship.
Scorch says Lanny Poffo is living Ecuador. Living in Ecuador?
Oh, really? He's living in Ecuador now?
Did not know that.
Oh, wow.
Money goes far, bro. Money goes far.
Evan says Jake the Snake. Andrew says Rude. Enrique says Rude. Katie says Jake the Snake. He was in Boy Meets World.
Here we go. Give him the Boy Meets World.
Real Action Pro says Rude is totally wearing Jake's wife on his tights for this matchup, going with Rick Rude.
All right.
Austin says Rude. Angie says Jake the Snake. My mom says Jake the Snake. My dad says Jake the Snake. Hakeem says Jake the Snake. Bonnie says Rick Rude. Jarrett says Rude in my favorite 80s matchup. Yes, Jarrett. Scorch says Rick Rude. Frank says Jake the Snake. Ray says Rude. Louis says Jake the Snake. And Sherlock Holmes says Jake the Snake. Wow, boy, this is tight.
It's close. The Supreme Court may have to decide.
Damn, I'm pumped up.
Court.
May have to decide.
What do we got?
I have 8 for Rick Rude.
I have 9 for Jake.
Oh, we get one more for Rick Rude. We have a tie, and the Supreme Council comes in the vote.
They had a very famous match in the late 80s. It was the DDT versus Rude Awakening match.
Both great finishing moves. Finishing moves.
Right. I think the DDT was actually invented. It is invented by Jake the Snake Roberts. It was an accident. He was supposed to do some other move, and he just brought the guy's head down.
So
basically, a botch move was the creation of the DDT.
Some of the greatest things were created on accident.
Guys, while we're waiting on more votes, what was that? What was that you say?
The top 5.
The top 5?
Yes.
Let's do that again. We have the top 5. Alan, we need to ask you your top 5, sponsored by Splattered Frog Brewing, guys. Sponsored by Splattered Frog Brewing. Everybody, you can hear these kids in the background. They're awake and they're active and they're excited. Your top 5 heroes, since you were not on last week, Alan. Your top 5 heroes
that were on or not on last week.
You weren't on last week. I'm just asking what your top 5 heroes of all time are.
Just in general.
Yes.
Oh, Hulk Hogan. In no particular order, right? Or do I got to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
Right.
Okay. Steve Austin, The Rock. Here's where I start to get a little stuck. I mean, these are the obvious.
Piper.
The answer is Flair.
Piper. Well, Flair I always viewed as a heel.
Right.
Oh. I thought he was like personal heroes. You're going with
personal.
I think it's personal. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Personal. Bret the Hitman Hart. I'm redoing my list. Bret the Hitman Hart. Shawn Michaels. Steve Austin. Flair. And honestly, Ricky Steamboat is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
That's a good call. I like that. Thank you, sir.
Yes, no problem.
All right, so let's count these votes. We've already counted them. Where are we at?
We're still 9-8, I believe.
9-8.
In favor of Jake Roberts, right?
No, Rude. Oh, sorry. No, you're right. Jake Roberts. You're right.
Let's count through them one more time just to make sure I have it correct. Okay, guys?
Yeah.
Evan says Jake the Snake. Andrew says Rick Rude. Enrique says Rude. Katie says Jake the Snake. Real Action Pro says Rick Rude. Austin says Rude. Angie says Jake the Snake. My mom says Jake the Snake. My dad says Jake the Snake. Hakeem says Jake the Snake. Bonnie says Rick Rude. Garrett says Rick Rude. Scorch says Rick Rude. Frank says Jake the Snake. Ray says Rude. Julio says, or Louie, I'm sorry, says Jake the Snake. Sherlock Holmes says Jake the Snake. Evan says I'm old school wrestling. I don't know any wrestlers from the 80s. Evan, that is old school wrestling. And Evan says besides Julio's mom, so there's that.
Oh no. She was a great wrestler. By the way, after you counted it, I think I got 10 for Snake.
I have 8 for Rude still.
You what? 8?
I have 8 for Rude still.
I think Jake, I got 10.
Okay, so it looks like Jake the Snake's taking it.
All right.
This is shocking.
In a rematch of WrestleMania 7.
I was wondering if it was a 6 or 7.
Yeah,
7. You're
7,
right. It was 7.
We're going to have Jake the Snake Roberts, the winner of our villains category, take on the winner of our heroes category, Mark Calloway, The Undertaker.
This is a weird one, guys. This is two very semi-villainous characters fighting each other.
Dark characters.
So you guys go ahead and vote.
that Ricky the Dragon Steamboat Macho Man match at Pontiac Silverdome is probably one of the greatest matches that ever happened.
Yeah. Don't they consider it the first 5-star match?
Timer started.
Well, they had another match prior to that when where Macho Man used the brass knuckles to win the Intercontinental title, and that was a TV match.
Oh,
that was great too.
But is that considered like one of the first 5-star matches? That WrestleMania 3 match between?
It's just incredible. It's incredible. It's
almost stole the show from Andre and Hulkster.
They probably did.
Better match. Yeah.
Well, of course. And you know what's interesting about that match? They actually rehearsed it ahead of time. Like they actually went over it in detail. Like Macho Man was known for being very like a perfectionist in his matches. So him and Ricky Steamboat, they actually talked it over.
Yeah.
And they went over all the moves, all the sequences. One
of my favorite matches of all times.
Yes. I talked to Stone Cold Steve Austin once, and I told him that he was in my top three favorite matches of all time at that point. And he was like, "Oh, which one was mine?" I said, "Well, you and Bret Hart, was definitely
I Quit match. The I Quit match.
I Quit match, yeah." He's all, "What do you put that in?" And I said 3. And he's all, "What's number 2?" I said, "Heartbreak Kid, Razor Ramon." And he's all, "Everybody loves that ladder match." I'm like, "Well, it's a great match." But he's all, "What's number 1?" And I said, "Macho Man, Ricky Dragon Steamboat at Pontiac Silverdome." And he was like, "Yeah, that by far is probably the best match."
It's a good top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say if the I Quit match is better or if Stone Cold versus Bret Hart at Survivor Series 96 is better.
Yeah.
It was just the fact that
so well together.
Yeah, it's just the fact that he didn't quit and still lost the match. He was just out. It was just like, what just happened?
Votes are coming in. Votes are coming in, guys. Kevin, why don't you take The Undertaker? Julio, let's have you take Jake the Snake. How about that?
All right, that sounds good.
Okay. Let's see. Hakeem says Jake the Snake. My mom says Undertaker. My dad says Undertaker. Real Action Hero going with Undertaker. Angie says Jake the Snake. Enrique says Undertaker. Katie says Jake the Snake. Scorch says Jake the Snake. Austin says Undertaker. Frank says these two had a great feud in the day, going with Undertaker. Louie's going with Undertaker. Sherlock Holmey is going to Undertaker. Where are we at with the votes, guys?
I got 4 for Jake.
I have 7 for The Undertaker so far.
It's really close. Everybody that's listening right now, that's in the chat, make your vote known. Amish says Undertaker.
Oh.
Thanks for staying with us, by the way, everybody. We've gone over quite a bit tonight. Thank you for sticking around.
I would have loved to have Jake be at the shop. He raises prices now that he's in AEW.
No, really?
Yeah, I had him right before the pandemic. He was going to do a comedy show in Oxnard, and I had him. He was going to be there for 2 hours for $1,000, and now I think he's like $6,500. You have to fly him down here in first class, and get him a hotel and everything. It's like,
get it.
Yeah.
You could have for a really cheap price. Brothers with Soul.
Oh, yeah. The problem is I have Brothers with Soul way too often.
Oh.
You guys come over there for free.
All right, so it looks like The Undertaker takes it, right?
Sure looks like it.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Yeah. So Jake the Snake, we're sorry. Undertaker wins.
Guys, Rick Rude, I'm sorry for.
This is the longest podcast live that we've had. We promise that we're going to be changing the way it works. We're going to be doing 8 at a time instead of 16 to shorten the time. We're going to split them up into two weeks instead of just one. It's something that we're working on. We've gotten feedback from everybody. We know it's really super long. We super apologize about that, but we had a really good time, and I hope everybody else had a good time too. Alan, thank you so much for being a guest on here. Julio, it's always a pleasure. Thank you very much for being on here as well.
We could be heroes.
Jared
Alan, if you're ever in town, man, come by the shop.
I absolutely will, 100%.
Jarrett says, Brothers with Soul waiting for their pull lists that we can be heroes. Yes. Scorch says Jerry Lawler said Helen Hart's face has enough wrinkles to hold a 4-day rain.
Wow.
My mom says thanks all gentlemen. Again, I just want to bring up one more time our great sponsors, guys. I'm going to just post these pictures one more time. I'm talking about Splattered Frog Brewing Company, which they have great hats and shirts. You can go to www.splatteredfrog.
Did he ever tell you the origin of the name?
That's a good question. Did he like splatter a frog for real?
You know what? I don't think he has.
Accidentally splatter.
You put in coupon code HEADLOCK.
Headlock.
That saves you 25% on your merch order. So you can get a hat or a shirt for under $20 shipped to you. That's a pretty good deal. A hat or a shirt for under $20 anywhere is a pretty good deal.
Actually, Jerry Lawler is actually excellent. He actually draws comic book covers for a book called Headlocked.
Interesting.
Yeah, very good artist. I gotta give him that.
And one more time, we have Half's Hot Sauce. Alan, I know that you were interested.
Yeah.
We have a lot. They have Hot Tropic, which is a tropical hot sauce. They have Killer Kiwi, which we will note that made me cry on air about a month back. Indigo Fire, which is a blueberry hot sauce. We have a Pineapple, which is a pineapple hot sauce. Sugar Rush Peach, and Trippy Pickle. So they have a lot of really interesting, really great hot sauces. Local to Ohio, but they will ship all over the United States, guys. And they will ship international as well, if anybody's interested. Thank you all for joining. Again, thank you, my guests, for being here. Thank you, Kevin, for being part of the Brothers with Soul. And
I hope that's going to die really fast.
And thank you, everybody. We will have a great podcast next week. We have a super special guest. We have amazing cosplayer Night Mage, which will be here. He does... I'm not even kidding, guys. Like, I've been following him for years, and he does some of the best cosplay I've ever seen. He's done the Shredder, Demon, the Phantom, what's her name from Tomb Raider? Lara Croft.
Lara Croft?
He's done Lara Croft. The guy's done everything and anything you can think of, but with super class. He's really good, really solid dude. So we'll be welcoming him next week. The following week will be about your favorite films with pets. That'll be a fun one. So we'll have
Cujo.
Yeah, that'll be possibly in there. So we'll have that one. That'll be a good one. And then we'll have a host of other podcasts coming soon that'll be a lot of fun, both audio and video. Every Monday we do these video podcasts from 7:30 p.m. until apparently God knows when. But we'll be shortening them, I promise. And then we also do our audio podcasts that come out every Thursday, late night or early Friday on Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and a host of others. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you again, Alan and Julio. We always appreciate it. And if we don't see you, real quick, out in the comments, we have Amish that says, yay, splattered frogs. Enrique says, thank you guys, have a good night. I hope the value of my Ultimate Warrior comic book increases. By the way, I wanted to mention this. Julio at the shop at We Can Be Heroes has Ultimate Warrior and China comics right now available. Autographed by both of them. Like separately, of course. Ultimate Warrior autographed his own comic. China autographed hers. Available at the shop. You guys should really check it out, right, Julio?
They're both, all of them are PSA DNA'd, so they have their authentication cards and certification numbers. They're wonderful. They're wonderful. If nobody buys one this week, I'm definitely taking one home.
Julio says Brothers with Soul would be a cool t-shirt to sell on pro wrestling tees.
I did not say that.
Louis. You mean Louis?
Oh, I'm sorry. Louis says that. Scorch says cosplay. Evan says I like them. Oh, Jesus, Evan. Sherlock Homie says thanks, everyone. And Katie says have a good night, all. So thank you for tuning in and listening to The Real Short Box. If we're not seeing you out and about anytime soon, perhaps maybe someday soon we will see you
at the Ultimate undefeated, incredible, and indestructible comic book shop.